I just was. I mean, I was looking at Japanese soccer, and I was I just didn't mean to place it. I was like, I might bite on this, but I didn't mean to actually bet on it at the time because I was inebriated.
So kind of how I wound up with this shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What
Yeah.
shirt? I don't...
Yeah, the check out my podcast Blart Holio shirt.
Yeah, and he doesn't know that story. Were you going to retell that story for him?
Oh, sure. Let's retell the story. Ian told us about a link to.
Do you always click on everything that Ian tells you?
No,
I think most people do.
A few of us looked it up to see if it was real.
That's usually why people do
it.
it.
It was a joke, and then after the podcast, we were talking about it again, and somebody was like, "I wonder how long shipping is," or something. Something came up about the shipping. I was like, "Oh, let me just click through a few times to find out." And by the time I was done clicking, before I could see the shipping, I had already paid, and I wound up with this fucking. Is this Arial text? I don't even know the type of text. It's
Helvetica.
Helvetica?
That's the default.
Helvetica.
Yeah, he basically just typed in some text for the front of the shirt and typed in some text for the back of the shirt in blue on the back.
Yes.
It says Blart Holio in blue on the back.
Because you know the colors or theme colors for the Blart Holio podcast are blue and white.
Yeah, so
It's well established.
As everyone knows.
yeah, they're mall cop colors. That's
It's in the lore.
yeah.
If you go back to that episode, I specifically said that.
So
Don't go back to that episode.
I just figured, fuck it, it's $30 down the drain. It was.
Was a $30 T-shirt? Holy fuck!
I mean, yes, and then of course Ian got
Oh
half
my
of that.
god!
And
Yeah,
that
look
was the
at
best
Ian.
part, 'cause he got a
You just fed,
notification afterwards because they didn't believe me.
You fed like 5 Chinese families just now.
For this.
And
for this.
Yeah.
And then Ian immediately changed the description of the shirt to bestseller.
That's amazing.
The biggest rob that I think we've ever had on this project, on this show, at least that I've been around for, was the fact that we had stopped recording after that episode and missed all of that. It was easily my favorite, top 5 things that have ever happened.
For some reason,
part of this.
I forget what I did with the backup recording, but that fucked up too, so I couldn't even save that to use it, because I was planning on using it for something.
Oh,
Like that
the
could have been a
Skype
whole
audio?
episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame.
So now you got to accidentally do it when we record and give me another $30.
Hey everybody, it's Brian here. So I'm giving you an added intro for the audio edition of the 200th episode. I just want to get a few things out of the way before you dove into this one. So first, and you'll hear me say this multiple times during the episode we recorded, thank you for giving this a listen. Thank you for checking out the podcast over the years. Honestly, I mean, this is basically something for me to share with my friends. And even 5 years in, that's really all this is. Our audience isn't huge. I think our audience size is estimated to be around 20 people, according to the stats that I see. So I'm definitely not doing this for any type of recognition. But for those of you that have stuck around and listened for a while, hit us up on Facebook here and there. Or hell, even if this is the second episode you decided to listen to, a honest thank you from me and the guys and everybody that's been on the show before. I still surprise myself that I've kept this hobby alive for 5 years. It's just a fun thing to do with some of my friends a couple times a month. So the fact that really anyone at all wants to listen to us and enjoys our conversation, it's a cool thought for me. Also, I guess I just wanted to remind everyone that the episode you're about to hear is something we did live on Twitch. And for the next month or so, it will still be available there. So if you want to actually watch the show that we did at the time, go to Twitch. I don't know if it's twitch.com or twitch.tv, but Google Twitch. You can search for my name, Jedi Bry Guy, or go to twitch.tv/Jedi Bry Guy. You can find the episode there. It's somewhere in my past videos. I also linked it on Facebook and Twitter, a few times, so you can, if you're following us one of those places, you can find it there. Honestly, we all had a lot of fun, I think, doing it on Twitch. A few people already gave me some positive feedback with it, so I'm sure it'll be something we try to do again here and there. I guess just fair warning, if you do watch the broadcast, if you go to Twitch and catch up on it after the fact, just skip some of the beginning. We had some audio issues right at the start, so it takes a bit before we sort of get up and running. So, you're not missing anything at the beginning if you skip around. If you do end up checking out the broadcast, and if you watched it live, I guess, feel free to give us some feedback. Let us know what you thought. Listening back, I think there's still some audio issues to figure it out. It seemed like at least when I watched it, that I was almost like a full second ahead of everyone. So there's a trivia section where I'm asking questions to the guys. They're giving me answers. It's timed. It seems like where I'm shutting down trivia answers just as soon as they're given. So I mean that's cleaned up for the audio version. So what you will listen to will be cleaner. It will be timed correctly. But for whatever reason, the way we set up the Twitch feed seems like it was off a little bit. So that kind of bugs me. It's a little, I guess, peek behind the curtain if you watch the video. It stuff like that irritates me. It's something that should be working. Everything we thought we tested worked. But as a first time out, I mean, the video stuff worked. Something with the lag, I guess, there between inputs and how everyone's coming together. We're doing it, over Skype, and then Skype has to go through Streamlabs, and then Streamlabs is going through Twitch. So there's a whole line of stuff that seems to happen. And if it's, doesn't happen on time, it shows, I guess. I mean, I did talk to a couple people that watched it live. Excuse me. They didn't seem to notice the lag as much as I did. So maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm pointing out something that really wouldn't bother too many people, but it bothered me. So, but anyway, I'm rambling already again. One thing I guess I also want to say that since we did this live, you're going to hear us talk to people that aren't on the episode or refer to things that you can't see. Doing it live, anyone that is currently watching can talk to us in a chat room through Twitch. So when we get to some of the trivia questions, I'm trying to field some of the answers from chat also. And we go through some pictures, which, whenever this episode comes up, I can try to just throw out the pictures that we went through. Just to put them on, I'll put them on the Facebook page or something, just so they're there for a visual reference. For anyone that wants to just listen to the audio podcast, doesn't want to go to Twitch, I will at least present the stuff to you so you sort of have an idea of what we talked about at any given time. Another thing that I probably should have guessed for this episode is that we went really long, like almost 4 hours long. And surprisingly, a lot of the people that stuck around on Twitch watched for the whole thing. So that was like, holy shit, these guys, either they just left it on and walked away, or I'm kind of hoping that, they actually enjoyed the show enough to just stick around and watch it for 4 hours. We started somewhere around 7. We tried to go live. We shut off and quit almost right before 11 o'clock, right around 11 o'clock. So it was long. So, anybody that stuck around that long, I salute you. That was amazing. I love the support like that. And I know, just from an audio, if you're listening to it after the fact, like an audio podcast, 4 hours seems very, very daunting. Hell, I think, people shy away from episodes that are probably longer than an hour. And I've always hated chopping up episodes into pieces. I'd rather give you the whole thing and you can sort of just chip away at it, like at your leisure. That's always been my mentality. Lately, I've been trying to keep the episodes that we've done on the show under 2 hours, when we can hopefully give people more incentive to listen if it's shorter. I didn't do that for this one. It was a milestone episode. I even told the guys before, if we go long, we go long. I still did not expect almost 4 hours. I was ballparking around 3. So because what we ended up with exceeded even my own expectations, I decided that I will cut this up into 2 pieces, hopefully make it a little bit more manageable for anybody just coming to it and listening to it later. And I never realized how much I ramble until I have to do one of these intros that I insert later into the episode. So I think I've probably wasted your time long enough. Hopefully I've covered everything I wanted to. We'll just get into it, shall we? Enjoy part 1 of our 200th episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of Bry Guy into Super Friends. This is our 200th episode and first live recording. Pause for effect. I'm your host, Brian Labick. Joining me for this special episode, starting with the only warning I take seriously, Andy, spoiler alert, Stoles.
What's up, podcast people?
The author of fantastic movies and where to find them, Josh Zorch.
That may have been your best yet.
You should also
I cannot
like
take
trademark
credit for
that and
these.
start doing it before somebody else steals it.
I am outsourcing these.
And also, I will actually rip off a respectable enough Adam Sandler movie to respond that now that we're in the visual world to say, I'm sorry, I'm not better looking.
Next up, he's too late for the 3080, too slow for the PS5, but just right for the Xbox Series X. Mike Bradley.
So we just had to relive my pain from the past week. That's what you're saying. It was a painful week for anybody trying to pre-order any of these new consoles or any next-gen hardware at all. And, yeah, the pain continues. The PS5 pre-orders are nowhere to be seen. The 380s are crashing on people. So now you don't even
maybe it's a good time you didn't get one.
Well, the Founders Edition ones aren't, but the other ones are crashing on people. And the Xbox was not that bad to get. It wasn't too bad. But, yeah, there's that.
You sure you got the right one?
Yes, I did not order a 1X. That was fucking hilarious to see 700% sales increase on the Xbox One X.
It was bound to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's one word that's different, and it's, like, it was dumb.
And finally, someone who's struggling through No Simp September, Ian the Simp Maker, Ian Leidick.
What's up, guys? Go to teespring.com/Leroy Exports.
That was a quick plug. I really expected more from you.
Yeah.
On the live show, I'm trying to watch my words so I don't get canceled.
You got a word count.
You don't get canceled. You can't get canceled.
You should see some of the things I say when it's live. Half the show is edited out because Brian cuts a lot of the things I say.
That's true. That's very true. All right, so welcome everybody. Welcome to anyone currently checking us out on Twitch. This is a whole new world for the podcast, which we're still learning as of the beginning too. We couldn't get the audio figured out. There's a lot of potential for this, but we'll see where it goes. It could go off the rails very, very quickly. But again, honestly, just thank you for listening. If you're tuning in live as we're doing this, just thanks for giving us a shot. It's a big deal for us. We don't have a large listener base. It's a fun hobby that's giving us an excuse to get together for 5 years now, talk about the stuff that excites us. Mike really has been trying to get me to do this for months. I
Years.
kept shutting him down. Years, probably, yeah. I finally gave in for the milestone, so we'll see where it goes. If it goes well and, everybody seems to like it, we'll see if we can find more excuses to do this. And I feel like I bring this up on every milestone episode we do, but I'm feeling nostalgic, so I'll ask again. Does everyone remember what episode you first appeared on the podcast?
This is always easiest for me every time you bring it up because I was on number 1.
Yeah, that was way back in March of 2015.
When we were just fresh young pups.
Yeah. Anybody else? Ian, you remember when you were
I
first
don't know the
episode?
number, but I know we talked about video games.
That was not that. That
What?
was not the first episode you were on.
What the fuck did I do with my life? Been living a lie.
I mean, I'm sure we have talked about video games on episodes before, but that was not your first one.
The hell was it?
It was in April of 2015, if that helps.
No, it doesn't.
It was episode 6, and it was the Force Awakens trailer.
Ha! Did not know that.
That's the one that went on for like 4 hours.
It could have been, yes.
And I thought all podcasts were 4 hours long.
We
I
set
don't
the
think
precedent. That was the
I was
bar.
just gonna say I don't think I realized that precedent had been set that early in the show.
That was when we didn't really know what we still don't know what we're doing 200 episodes later, but still.
I think we
So
talked
episode
about
6, we literally broke it down frame by frame.
it was
I
that
think
kind
we
of
talked
trailer,
about
yeah.
like 28 different timestamps that Brian wrote down. On this timestamp, you see this. What do you think that is?
Yeah,
And
notice we
talk
haven't
about
done that like ever
like
again. So
25 minutes we would talk about one timestamp.
It's like, do you see the lighting here? Do you think that means anything?
we talked for probably 45 minutes on Ray's stick, which was nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That could be like a companion memoir to the entire recent Star Wars trilogy. Ray's
True.
stick, it
Yeah.
meant nothing. 45 minutes on
You know
Ray's
what, though?
stick.
In the end, it did mean something. At the very, very end, they turned it into a lightsaber.
Once they do that, yeah.
Yeah, once they
But up
cut
to
it
that
up into
point,
nothing
any
that it was.
Yeah,
background
no, it was
meaning,
not. It was nothing
whatsoever.
anything that you thought it was. But
Oh yeah, we had this whole elaborate plan, or maybe I just had this whole elaborate plan that it was part of Darth Plagueis, and it was this whole Sith origin thing. It was all fucking. It was a mess.
be fair,
Andy,
you
do you
went
remember
terribly far.
when you started?
I do not actually remember when I started.
July 2015,
Okay.
Oh,
episode
beat
15.
you, sucker.
It was San Diego Comic-Con, one of the San Diego Comic-Con episodes we did.
Okay.
Mike, do you remember when you started?
I'll guess at the date. I know it was episode 66,
Pretty damn close.
68.
68.
69?
68.
Oh,
going.
fuck.
It was
Why did it say
68.
69?
It was one off.
66 or 68. We talked about Snoke theories. I know that.
Yes.
October of 16.
Oh, very good. Yes, October 2016.
There you go.
So wait, I forgot that tidbit of lore as well. Your first episode was with Brian and Ian.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
the Snoke episode theories.
Mm-hmm.
That was Prime
Oh,
Ian
Jesus.
before he got banned from the show.
Yeah. That
We had to
was-
take we had to take a hiatus from Ian for a little while there.
That was
like classic like cum stories.
well, yeah, we had that, and we had the googly eyes, and there was hut consent laws. I remember we talked about.
Yes, that was the thing that came out of that
I
one.
I missed that podcast. I wish I was on that.
Yeah,
one.
that never got brought up in the movies, which I thought was weird.
I know.
Like the stick and hot consent laws.
Well, see, like earlier today, I was seeing something about like I think it was IGN posted like what kind of Star Wars game would you want to see? You know, if you could have any Star Wars game, what would you want it to be? And I'm thinking to myself like, I just want a game where you can literally do anything in the universe, like be a hut, you know, vying for control of the Outer Rim. And then I thought to myself, in creating consent laws, because you have to do that kind of thing if you're going to control a section of the Outer Rim. You have to decide what your consent laws are. You have to have something on the records, right?
So there's this game called Stellaris, where it's made by Paradox, where you basically it's a 4X game and you bake an alien race essentially and try and control the galaxy. So now I got to look and see if I can get some hut-like race so I can
Some space
theory
slug.
craft consent laws for my galaxy expand universe.
Is that Stellaris Age of Wonder or something like that?
No, it's just Stellaris. I don't know if it has expansions, but I know Age of Wonder is a different game.
Oh, okay.
So what kills me about thinking back to that Star Wars theory episode is that we shit on the bed of the whole theory that Rey is a Palpatine.
And
Did you
and we
specifically?
didn't talk about how he's just gonna get killed.
Well, the reasoning was the whole thing for the theory was they were tracing it back to her connection to him based on the way she poked at Kylo with her lightsaber when they fought the first time. I was like, there's no fucking way you can use that as the basis as to why she's a Palpatine, and then turns out she is.
I
So
would
we
still
were all
call
fucking
that
wrong.
reason bullshit for the theory.
Okay, fair.
I would
Yes.
still call that a bullshit reason to have the theory. Sure, maybe
But it's-
the conclusion of the theory may have been correct, but
But it's excellent foreshadowing. Excellent.
yeah.
excellent foreshadowing, shitty storytelling, however you want to look at it.
No, come on. No. No, foreshadowing is good storytelling.
I guess, by the way, spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
Even if
Wait,
you didn't
where's
know
the alert?
that what the resolution was going to be for that to foreshadow at the time you did it.
Well,
which we didn't. No way in hell.
had
we
she
didn't.
No, I mean,
turned
the writers-
evil and
the
actually
writers
been
didn't.
evil, I'd have been
Yeah, right.
100% behind it.
Well, what
Yeah.
Abrams was 7 and then 9, right?
Yeah,
So he
Yeah.
might have known.
he wasn't scheduled to be 9 though.
So we didn't even get through the intro and we are already off topic here.
We started talking about Star Wars. This happens every fucking time. We mention Star Wars and we just go
This
down the
isn't a
rabbit
Star
hole.
Wars episode.
All right, so I also at least want to shout out to everybody else that has been on previous episodes. I'm not going to name you all. You know who you are. Thank you for being part of the show. I can't do this again with all these guys here. I can't do it with everybody that's been a part of the show in the past. 200 is a huge milestone to hit. I can't do it by myself. I needed help from my friends, so that's what helped me get there. So again, thank you everybody watching. Thank you everybody that's been a part of the show. It means the world to me. It's great.
And I also appreciate the fabulous gift of a new car you're giving all of us for being
That
on
is
this
nowhere near happening.
It's like
As
those
you all
Pontiac
heard, that is
Grand
happening.
Prix. Yeah.
I thought Pontiac Grand Prix was in this.
So just
Well, Brian, I'm not going to be greedy like the other guys. I'll take a smart car. It's fine.
This is all right. So this is the side story. we have links in the chat for the two stores that we have up for merchandise. Mike is wearing one of the shirts from one of those sites, which means Ian has now made more money from this show than I have in 5 years.
Well, I mean, you're at net losses because for a long time you were like paying to put the podcast up on iTunes.
That's true. I am in the hole, probably a couple $100 from hosting the podcast on a website for 3 years that cost me money.
Not to mention all the equipment that we've bought. And all
That's
that.
true. Also true.
You know?
Probably a lot more than a $25 T-shirt. So, that puts this whole thing into perspective here. You guys aren't getting shit, so I'm not trying
So
to
we
burst
gotta-
your bubbles.
Wait, hold
It's
on.
not happening.
So what we need to do is each create our own T-shirt sites, and then we can just go around the horn and buy from each other, and then we've all technically made more than you have.
True. Yeah.
An incestuous shirt store scheme.
Just keep cycling it around so we get free $15 shirt. Well, not free, but we get half price shirts. But yes, check out my podcast. Is on the front of this shirt here. It was an accidental purchase. Ian, thank you for making it.
Of course.
Blart
I do it for the
Holio
fans.
is on the back. If you have questions about Blart Holio, just feel free to ask Ian.
I
Whenever
do have
he
a
wants.
podcast
I really
about
hope
the
that
Blart
pops up
Hole
on
movies.
screen as a question over his name. I hope that actually comes onto the Twitch stream. I don't know if it's going to. It wouldn't be up there yet.
We're all just gonna stare at it until.
I'm just
Wait and
wondering.
see.
I'm just wondering.
Ah, come on, guys.
I think you're good. I didn't see it.
All right, so just to be a little bit nostalgic, also, any favorite episodes you guys have been a part of that we've done over the last 5 years?
Yeah, actually, I have my favorite episode is when we started the Rumble Double Jammer.
Yes.
Yeah, when we did that, and we did what was it? All the bonds together in one thing, and we really tried to hash that. What was that? Episode 150?
Where
it
we
might
were
be.
debating James Bond and stuff. That was one. It was a milestone one. It might have been 100.
No, I thought 100 was.
I think 100 was mostly a clip show.
Because 150
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
game show, so I don't think we talked Bonds in that.
Because I know it was
150
definitely a play. It
never
was
saw
a
the
time we
light
got
of
together
day,
at my
as far
house.
as
We
I
did
know,
that.
didn't
We
it?
did that here together.
Yeah, we did it at your house. You had just gotten it. Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
I'm
I thought that was so
ballparking-
much fun.
I'd ballpark 100
Yeah.
because I think we did clips for that one too. I think it was a little bit of both. We did clips and we talked about other random shit for that one.
Which is always tough
100
because when I go back to listen to myself, I have to skip through to when the clips of Ian play.
100, we were sitting around your dining room table, and for 150,
Yes.
there was too many of us, so we were sitting all around the living room.
Okay.
If that
Right.
helps you remember.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
also, by the way,
So
just to bring
50
this
must have-
back up, you said the Rumble Dumble Jam. So those of you that don't know, a Rumble Dumble is the result of having a baby with an earthquake. Just in case anybody was wondering, we defined that at one time on the show.
That's right. We did.
We'll just bring
But
that
you guys
back
did that
around.
without me? I created this monster. You just give it a meaning without me?
No, that's the actual Urban Dictionary definition, is having a baby with an earthquake.
I'm going to have to write to them.
I'm just,
They owe you some
I'll
royalties.
link it in chat for everybody that does not believe me. I'll link it right in there because we did not know this when we did it. But
So,
you go to Urban Dictionary there and see that Rumble Dumble
It's
Jam.
been a really long time since we actually had a Rumble Double Jammer, so I feel like we need to get a Rumble Double Jammer going.
You just want to say that like 3 more times, don't you?
Rumble Double Jammer, Rumble Double Jammer, Rumble Double Jammer.
We actually did one for Star Wars Day on my brief 4-episode podcast that I did back then.
You had a podcast?
Yeah, we did a live podcast kind of thing. But we for Star Wars
Who
Day, we
was
did
on
a
that
Star
show?
Wars one. That was me, you, and Brian.
Huh, I don't remember being on that show.
Well, that's weird.
You blacked out.
Must have been drunk. Oh, yeah. You going to answer him finally, Brian?
I'm trying. Just keep going.
Well, I will say, as a side note, I've never been a part of a Rumble Double Jammers episode, but
Never?
I haven't yet. But
Oh.
honestly,
Oh, they're the
I'm
best.
okay with it because they are probably my absolute favorite to listen to. And I can tell that everybody else who participates in those is way better at it than me.
It's weird because it gets real serious and I get upset and I try not to show
I
it. But I'm
know.
like
No,
legit
that's-
upset when people are disagreeing with me about
Yeah,
why this
people
Ewok
disagree.
sucks.
That's what makes it so awesome because
Well-
you're just like you're like no, like that's not right. You know,
And that-
you yell at.
That's one I think I still have pinned to my page. Is you going off about the Ewoks? I still have that pinned to my channel when you like a 3-minute diatribe about Ewoks and how they're disgusting beings.
Yeah. That's actually a copy paste about koala bears, but I just control replaced Ewoks with koala bears.
Nonetheless, it still
Which
exists.
is why I describe Ewoks as eating eucalyptus leaves, even though there are 0 eucalyptus plants on the forest moon Endor.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
look that
that's
up
a
on
lot of-
Wikipedia to find out for sure.
I wrote that page, don't worry, I know.
Oh, okay.
I think everybody else went around. Ian, did you have a favorite episode? Either you've listened to or been a part of?
Well, I do like the clip shows a lot because everyone always says how smart and funny and witty I am. So those are always real re-listens I do when I'm drinking. I'm like, man, Ian, you're the best fucking person on this planet.
Self-confidence
Going on an
boosted.
ego trip when you're already imbibing is probably the best thing to do.
It really brings up my day. I guess outside of how amazing and special I am, though, I do always enjoy our video game episodes, as that's probably the topic I'm most familiar with. Even when I'm not on, I always like to hear, especially because a lot of people that appear on them, like Andy, like games or identify like what they like about stuff differently than I do. So it helps me think like about trying more, especially like the indie games with the weird colors, and that always is helpful for me to like try and actually expand my horizon.
The weird colors.
Obviously, I'm colorblind, so it helps to have other people describe colors and how good they look.
Oh, okay.
And then, obviously, any episode with Harry Potter I gotta listen to because Josh has an encyclopedical knowledge about it that he proved on the fucking Jeopardy thing we did last time, where they made a category for Harry Potter, but it should have been called Josh Wins Jeopardy.
Hey, I got one of those answers right. One of them.
Yeah, again,
Was
that
that the lost
never saw the
episode?
light of day. Like it's
Yeah, was that the one we lost?
yeah, that's the one we lost because
I know we
two
had
people
we had
didn't
some
record.
issues for. Yeah, one of those. Yeah, I think we did lose one of the game show ones.
Yeah,
I don't remember if it was that Jeopardy one. I thought we put one up at some point, but
no, it was the
I think,
live
yeah,
one.
definitely one we tried to record did not work,
Yeah, it was definitely a live one because we had so many mics plugged in,
and 2 of them were not on.
Yeah, 2 of them were not
So
on.
that was
while
on
we were
me.
recording. And
I mean, so there's that, and then obviously I had that great run about googly eyes for like a good 6 months.
yeah, it's true.
Where I think a couple people seriously believed that I had a vast storage of googly eyes somewhere in my house.
That is Brag Eye Super Friends like lore that people need to go back and listen to find out all about the googly eyes, so they know what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
And then, of
I mean,
course, I've also always enjoyed the Virgin episodes because it's nice to get someone. I'm like, there's no exposure to stuff. I probably could have phrased that better, but I really enjoy your Virgin
I've
episodes.
never seen that one.
You've never seen that,
Yeah.
yeah. That's fair.
Andy, I did answer your question. Check your phone.
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
uh-huh.
Tell me
I'm
though,
try-
in case I need
I'm
to know.
I'm trying my best.
How about you,
was
Brian? When do you most enjoy this job?
I mean, most of it, I enjoy doing, just getting you guys together and talking about it. But episode formats or anything that I like the best, I'd like the top 10 ones we do for anticipated favorite movies and stuff for the year. I always like doing those. I've been having a surprising amount of fun with the Rewind Theater ones we've been doing recently.
Yeah.
That's given me an excuse to watch stuff that, 1, I don't want to, and 2, that I hadn't seen yet. So that's...
That wheel's been
So
so
you've
nice
not given a
so
good
far.
review
I
yet.
can't-
How are you enjoying it?
I cannot wait to watch
You know-
Astro Boy. I can't wait.
Even some of the bad movies are still good, right? Like there's stuff to find there that's worth talking about. At the very least, it's content for us. Even if we shit on a movie for 2 hours,
And I just want to bring up, I'm
us.
still upset that Josh gave a similar score to Venom as he did Bloodshot, which was clearly a much worse movie.
Well, again, so we in theory have a very long run ahead of us in this Rewind Theater idea, and I'm glad that already at episode 3 that I've something has been established that will probably be called back to every other episode as some kind of benchmark thing now.
You should have just given Venom a 6 so you could score a bunch of stuff under it, and it's just right there. And I don't know what I gave Venom, but we're gonna hear about it.
You gave it a higher score than Bloodshot, which was the important part.
True.
I spent an hour trying to explain during that review specifically why Bloodshot was a worse movie just to avoid this. I think that's why I talk so much about Bloodshot, is I was worried that someone would shame me by giving it a higher score than Venom.
Well, as I said, we got a lot ahead of us on that, so I'm looking forward to how much I can disappoint you further.
I can't wait to
I
give
feel like
Astro
Astro Boy's
Boy
going to be the next one.
like a
Yeah.
9 and see how he explodes about Venom.
Yeah. It's
But then
gonna
again,
be
I
a
might give Astro Boy a 10, so we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never
well-
seen it. I have no idea what to go on with Astro
It
Boy.
could be very enjoyable. Like, who knows? It could be like if you had never seen The Incredibles, and like all of a sudden in like 2020, someone's like, "Here, watch The
I
Incredibles."
kind of feel like Astro Boy would be a bigger deal than it is if it was as good as The Incredibles.
I'm just saying. We don't
It
know.
might be a big deal in Japan still.
I think we all agreed. Like, none of us have seen it ever, so who knows?
true. Yeah.
Brian, I did think of one thing. I think it hasn't happened yet, but I'm already gonna pin that I think one of my kind of more favorite episodes to at least do will be the one that we do eventually soon for Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I know you've been holding out hope for that one
I will
for
be looking-
months.
I'm looking forward to that so much.
You're doing a creepy movie one?
It's the deal that Josh and I had made for the Never Seen That stuff. Josh has agreed to watch Fast and Furious if I watch some scary movies. So he is handpicking me some scary movies to watch. The next one up for us is Cabin in the Woods, and the next one for him is Fast 5.
So just, real quick, I just watched it last weekend. I watched The Quiet Place.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I loved it.
Yes, we floated that as another possibility for Brian because it's extremely it's doable in that realm for someone who doesn't like
Yeah.
horror per se. It's just a very good thriller. So yeah, we've
Yeah.
floated that one as a backup too.
I'm not a horror fan, and I loved The Quiet Place. Like, loved it. I cannot wait for the sequel.
And
Okay, well, you're selling me on it a little bit, so maybe Josh and I can talk,
Yeah.
figure out.
John Krasinski, awesome. So awesome in that movie.
So, but since we're coming up on Halloween, Brian, we are going to do Cabin in the Woods first. We're not going to
Well,
skip it
Speaking
to do Quiet
of
Place.
Halloween,
Yeah.
I'm going to give myself a plug. I will be back to streaming for October. We're going to do all horror
month of
games
October?
all month long.
No, nice.
We're going to start off, I think,
Heard it here.
with-
That's a scoop. You've heard it here
I
first.
know. I'm thinking I'm going
Breaking
to
news.
start off with Resident Evil 7, and we're going to go into that one.
Have you played that one yet?
No.
Okay.
I also have an announcement. I am also going to start streaming as a VTuber. My schedule will identically match Bradley's. So we will always be going head to head.
I accept that challenge.
All right, so for the show at hand, so one thing we can do over Twitch while we broadcast is we actually have a prize we're going to try to give away. So Ian designed a few shirts basically as a joke, but
And I wound
begin
up
on the
with
joke,
one.
I guess, if you've listened to the podcast for a while. So I'm going to queue up the giveaway. The giveaway should be live. So, and I just, to go inside with Ian's store, I did throw together a link myself just for logos of the podcast. If you want something a little bit more simple, it's there. So if you are in chat and you type !links, both stores should pop up, assuming I've set this up correctly. You can browse the options at the store, see if there's anything you like. At the end of the show, we will pick a winner. You can get a shirt of your choosing from either of those links. If you're selected, you'll have to probably direct message us somewhere,
Whisper
whether
on
it's
Twitch.
Facebook or Twitch. Either one works. We'll get it. Give us your address, your shirt size, stuff like that. You will eventually get a shirt from us at some point. I don't know how quickly, but you will get it.
Can I interject a question?
Yeah.
Ian's store is called Leroy the Dream Killer. I'm just wondering which of your alter egos that one is, because was it meant to be Leon, or
No, that's Leroy. That's one of my many nicknames.
okay? So Leon, Leroy, and Ian are all different names we can call you. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Brian.
Yeah, I respond to all of them.
All right, so yeah, if you alternatively, if you would like to support us, you can check out those links, grab a shirt. Right now, that's the best way to support the show. Like I said, Ian's already turned a profit from it, so hopefully we can get some other designs out there at some point. This is sort of our first attempts at merchandise, so we'll see how much we can play around with it. So if you'd like to be entered to win a shirt, type !raffle in the chat. Your name will be entered into the drawing. You only get one entry, so you can't spam it, and we'll draw at the end of the show and see who gets the prize. So, not to get too far ahead of us, as far as our topic for this episode, what are we doing? So, I was trying to think of something fun to do for 200. I'll admit that I'm basically doing a J.J. Abrams reboot reboot of a previous episode of the show. If you've stuck around since the beginning, we did an episode way back in 2015. It was episode number 27, where me, Andy, and our other Mike Romano, talked about superhero movies that could have been. I thought it was a lot of fun. It generated some fun talking points. Since the episode is no longer available because, iTunes and Spotify only really keep the last 100, 150 of the episodes, it's not there to stream anymore. So most of you probably missed this one. The only way to listen to it now is if you've downloaded it way back then. You haven't deleted it since 2015. So for all intents and purposes, it has moved on. Sort of my idea for that episode was always to try to get a round table of guests together to talk about this. So with only 3 of us on that episode, it never quite lived up to the potential of what I wanted to do. So this gave me a chance to reboot the episode, try again. I'm largely using the same outline I did for that original episode. I've added a few movies. I've tried to update some details. My format will probably be, I'm going to try to summarize the research I've collected for the movies, try to detail how they almost happened, why they didn't happen. I've got some talking points questions for these guys. Also, anyone watching, you guys can feel free to post in the chat if you want to chime in. Hopefully some of these movies and or details will be surprising to you. I'll go through the movies mostly in chronological order. I should point out that these guys do not know what's on the list. I thought part of the fun would be that hopefully these are surprising for these guys and everybody watching. And although I guess since the episode was a rebooted episode, the other fun part will be Andy was a guest on that original episode 5 years ago, and Josh, I know, listened to that episode. So this could be a good game of memory for these to see if you guys remember anything from 5 years ago.
Oof.
At this
Dude,
point,
I can't remember what happened like Tuesday, so.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, if I told you something that literally happened in April, you would have thought that was 2017.
Yeah. So before we finally get into the movies, can you think of any superhero movies that never happened do you think might show up on my list?
One or two.
Well, I know of one.
Any? Do you want to give me your guesses, or you want to save them and see if you're right?
I don't want to give anything away to my competitors.
I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually directly
Yeah.
discussed this with you yesterday, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, we talked about one or two.
Yeah, we didn't talk about
but
all
I think
of
some
it
of them
or
you already
any
knew
of the
about.
stuff.
So
No, you asked
I
me
wasn't
what I knew,
giving you. Yeah.
what I thought would be there, and you confirmed a couple of the things I said. That's all.
All right, so we'll kick it off. First one. So I think the first one we're gonna kick off is probably one of the most well-known superhero movies that could have been Tim Burton's Superman. So this is a movie that is so infamous that there was a documentary from 2015 about the failed production called The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened. So if you're curious, I'd actually highly recommend checking that movie out. It's a really cool behind-the-scenes look of like production art, like costume tests. It's all in there. They interview Tim Burton. They interview some of the people that worked on the production. You can see what happened to the movie just watching that documentary. It's really cool. Have you guys? I feel like the only one that might have seen this is Josh. Have you watched that movie?
I have.
Did anybody else watch the Superman Lives documentary?
Nope.
I have not.
No. Okay.
First I've ever.
Yeah,
heard
I
of it.
watched it a while ago, and I thought it was really interesting. All right, so I'll try to summarize here. Kevin Smith at one point wrote the original draft and apparently pushed for Tim Burton to direct it, and it worked. Tim Burton got hired to direct the movie. But once Burton was hired, he didn't like Smith's script, so he let Kevin Smith go. Producer John Peters apparently didn't want Superman to fly, didn't want Superman in the red and blue costume, and was adamant that there be a giant spider in the finale.
What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yep.
Makes complete sense to me.
Watch
What's-
if you're ever curious about that story, watch An Evening with Kevin Smith. I think it's volume 2. It might be in volume 1, but it's like his early days of doing college just like speaking engagements in auditoriums and stuff, and he has this really long story about all this and his whole thing about John Peters and the spider. It's priceless.
So, did this turn into Eight-Legged Freaks, and that's why we got that?
No, actually, the big mechanical spider turned into Wild Wild West.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So there's that
Gave
little Easter
Kenneth
egg
Branagh
too.
something to do.
Yeah. So the story for the movie seemed to be loosely based on the death of Superman, the comic book art. It featured Brainiac, Lex Luthor, Doomsday. A few different drafts had Lex Luthor and Brainiac somehow merging into a cyborg called Lexiac. Lexiac would then create Doomsday, which led to Superman being killed. Superman would have had a slightly different origin story, and that he wouldn't discover he was an alien until his Kryptonian ship is discovered sometime during the movie, well after becoming Superman.
So
This
he
would
would
have
just
affected
think, I'm
Superman's-
really cool. Like the
What's
whole
that?
time. So he would just think, oh, I'm really fast and have laser eyes for no
Yeah, he's got-
discernible reason for his whole life.
People ask him like, "Do you even go to
He's
the
got
gym,
powers.
bro?
He doesn't know
You
why,
lift?"
how or why he has powers. So this would have led to like some sort of different upbringing.
Would he
much
be
more
state
insecure
football
Superman.
champs?
What's that?
Well, he would have used his powers then, since he's like not an alien. So would they have been like state football champs and shit?
Yeah, see, I mean, it's not clear. I don't really know the details of the
He
script
catches a
to know
pass
what he
and
would have
turns the
done.
person trying to tackle him into a bloody pulp.
Oh, why would- he would be a running back. Like no one's tackling
That's
him.
what I mean. Like,
for sure.
whatever. He has the ball, and somebody tries to tackle him, and they just explode.
Like he could just leap the whole field. Like
Boy, that was easy.
Gets every
He made a
every,
109-yard
kickoff
field goal. That was fun.
like they have those like stunt like baseball things where like local teams will like for charity stuff, and they'll play like a team of 3 pros, you know, for like baseball. They had a whole King of the Hill episode about it. He could do that by himself. Like take on an entire opposing baseball team just by himself, and the catcher, I guess.
I mean,
But
you'd
just
like to
get
think
someone
that
to throw
Papa
it
Kent's
back.
doing his job, right? And
Like-
that Superman's not just going out there willy-nilly with his powers everywhere.
Well, you know, it's just he's really cool apparently, you know, because he's not an alien. He's just a really cool,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
attractive
how
man.
would they explain it? Like, how would his parents explain it if they didn't know he was an alien?
I don't have those
Like-
answers. I don't know.
Well, no,
They're like Mike Tyson and Tanya Harding's child was just left on our doorstep.
I feel like
So
that
I
would be an
forget, was this-
incredibly evil, stupid child.
But super fucking strong.
Why Tanya Harding though? Why is that the one you go to for strong? I'm just.
She was good at skating.
I mean, yeah, she
Just
wasn't
like
even like
Superman?
she had to cheat to win, and so did Mike Tyson.
Whoa. Mike Tyson
bit
was
off
a
Evander
phenomenal doctor,
Holyfield's
and I will have
ear.
no Mike Tyson slander on this
I feel like if
podcast.
Superman is leaping the soccer field or football field in a single bound, he is also cheating.
If he
Or is
doesn't
he a
know that
superior
that's
athlete?
not a normal human thing, because he wasn't
If
told
he's the
an
only one
alien,
doing it and no one else is doing it,
then
I
he's
feel like
just
that's
super
something.
awesome.
I wonder, like, when he
The Captain
like
America
test,
of
when they test for steroids, would his testosterone level be like too elevated?
get a
And they would
needle
just
into
assume he's juicing.
They can't.
Like, how would that work?
They can't get a
I want to
needle
know
in.
about this more. I care about this more now.
How do they test them for steroids if they can't poke them with a needle?
I didn't even think
all
about
right,
that.
semantics
like,
here. Semantics. We got to move on. Josh
is
had a
good.
question.
Oh, was this something? Was this one of the projects that like eventually the script leaked or was released or was found, or are a lot of the details that have been known about this just found like over the years through people sharing information? Do you remember?
I mean, I think there's a lot of people that like to talk about it. Like Kevin Smith will talk about it anytime he's asked.
Right.
Anything that he's worked on. I feel like there is a good bit of information out there. I didn't get the real specific details. I tried to get general broad strokes of stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's a lot of info, especially that documentary. It's 2 hours of what happened in this movie.
Sure.
So hold on.
Ian, did you have something?
No, I was just laughing at broad strokes.
Okay.
I have a question. You said they
Yeah.
wanted to put the mechanical spider basically from Wild Wild West into it somehow.
Well, it wasn't mechanical for Superman. I
Well-
think it was just a giant spider.
Well, okay,
It became a
okay,
mechanical
okay, but
spider
you
for
said
Wild
that-
Wild
that-
West.
That's what they wanted to be like the big end piece.
Yes.
Yeah.
How did that play in with Doomsday?
I don't know.
They
That's
have no
producer.
like details of like Doomsday and this giant spider, or was
Well,
Doomsday mid movie?
after Lexicon or whatever created Doomsday and Superman was killed, they're like, well, fuck, how do we get rid of Doomsday? We got to make a giant spider.
Well, I think, Josh,
buy it.
correct me if I'm wrong. It's just because the producer, John Peters, had a thing for spiders and was like, you know, it would be cool if he fought a giant spider.
Yeah. I mean, the way the story's always been told is like he just had a fixation on that element, and
It's like me pitching a movie.
yeah,
This
like
is John
like-
Peters, the movie producer, who is a hairdresser. Like, he has no business being a movie
Wait,
producer.
this was
but
his first
but
chance
he
at
is.
being a movie producer. He went from hairdresser to
I thi-
movie producer in one step.
I believe
There was no steps in between.
I don't know a lot of this. Yeah, his career, but I know they hype up the fact that he is a hairdresser or was a hairdresser.
Well, I really hope
mean,
Hollywood is
if
starting
it-
to base more of their decisions on merit.
That's all the more reason to watch the documentary because they interview John Peters. He is a weird fucking dude.
Yes, a cornerstone of Kevin's stories that he always tells about it is John mentioning how he has like fought in like over 200 street fights
Oh yeah, yeah.
Were any
in his
of them
life.
against
Like he's
spiders?
a very eccentric seeming person.
It reminds me of Kimbo Slice.
Yeah.
Kimbo Slice.
R.I.P.
Oh yeah, he did die. Didn't he?
Think
All right,
so,
so
be
we'll
it
get
safe.
into one of my little first trivia questions I got for you guys. So
Before you do that, so what is the format of answering? Is it?
I'm just
is there
gonna
some
yell
kind of
really quickly.
buzzer system, or is it like you ever like take turns on who has first crack on it?
I mean, yeah, at this point, I'm not as organized to have some sort of buzzer system set up. So, and raising the hand or something is not going to work. So we're just going to have to go with shouting here and see who shouts it first.
Okay.
So basically, I'm just going to go through the cast. We have Superman, Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, Lex Luthor, and Brainiac.
Well,
Can you guys tell me any of the actors that were
Nick
supposed to be
Cage.
playing those roles?
Nick Cage.
Can we get a year on
Cage.
this?
I don't know if there was a.
No,
I
like
didn't see a year
years that
specifically.
like just a general.
Ian already got the answer. Jesus.
He ain't got one of them. Yeah.
Well, this
Yeah,
is
I
the
know
only
that.
one I know for the
But-
whole
but-
thing. This whole thing is the only one. No kid.
But I'm just looking for like a general. Was this like early 2000s, right? Like pre.
This
It would
was
have been before 2000. So
97?
90s.
96, 97, 98?
90s. So like post Clerks, Kevin Smith. But
Right,
Yes.
but this would have been Warner Brothers producing.
right. Okay. No, I'm just okay. So we.
I feel
Nick
like I
Cage,
heard
Superman.
the-
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, the Jimmy, I feel like I've heard, and when you say it, it's gonna jar the memory, but I can't think of it right now or the others.
So you wanted Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, Lex Luthor.
Ian got Superman. Superman was Nicolas Cage.
What else did you
So
want?
Lois Lane,
Lois
Jimmy
Lane.
Olsen, Lex Luthor, and Brainiac.
Oh,
Okay, Meg Ryan for
Courtney,
Lois Lane.
Courtney Cox for Lois Lane.
All right, so Lois Lane actually had two rumored people. Courtney Cox was one.
Courtney
There's
Cox
still
was
Oh,
on.
another
shit, that
name
was a shot in the
rumored for
dark.
Lois Lane.
So it's not Meg Ryan.
It is not Meg Ryan.
Damn it. I'm out of
Um,
options.
If Nick Cage,
Cameron Diaz.
No.
Andy McDowell.
No.
Andy Milonakis.
I will watch that.
If Josh is right, and this is 97, it's right around when she started to break out.
Nev Campbell.
No.
Alicia Silverstone.
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
No. No.
Comparable age to Courtney Cox at the time? Much younger, much older?
Yes.
Julia Roberts.
In 97 was just
Susan
breaking.
Sarandon.
Oh Jesus.
97.
Winona Ryder.
No.
Bruce Willis.
And that's the other thing. I don't know how long I should just let you guys just keep throwing names out, or if you just want the answer.
I mean,
at some
well,
point.
I think like
Sigourney
30
Weaver.
seconds is a good max.
Charlize Theron.
Nope.
97
Stone.
starting. Jessica
Gwyneth
Biel.
Paltrow.
No. All right, I'm gonna call it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Glenn
Sandra
Close.
Bullock.
She broke out long before that.
Speed was what? 96? 97?
94.
Yeah.
94.
Yeah.
Okay. Speed. All right. Then my bet on the dates. Speed was earlier than I thought.
Okay.
But
Jimmy
okay.
Olsen. Any guesses for Jimmy Olsen?
Johnny Depp.
No.
John Malkovich.
I
No.
thought that too.
No, it's gotta be someone
I thought
younger.
John Malkovich. I was like, that'd be cool. Just for no reason at all, it would be cool.
Gary
Jason Priestley.
Oldman.
Toby Maguire.
You guys talked at the same time. I didn't hear one at a time. Ian.
Gary Oldman.
No. Josh.
For Jimmy Olsen?
Yeah.
Why not? This movie's fucking
Gary
crazy.
Oldman can play whoever the fuck he wants to. Next
He would have gotten
question.
lost on the road, Jason.
That's right around the time of Air Force One. Like that's perfect time for Gary Oldman.
Well, it was.
Skeet
I'm gonna
Ulrich.
say Michael Keaton.
No and no.
Toby Maguire.
No. It is
Trying to
not a
think of
white
who-
person.
Oh,
Fuck.
you know what? I do know
Jamie
this.
Foxx.
No.
I remember this.
Who was in like his mid 20s probably, like early to mid 20s.
Chat, you got any answers? Jimmy Olsen.
What?
Common.
No.
Common?
no.
Method Man.
Not in the 90s.
Method Man.
No, no.
Did you say Method Man? No.
I'm gonna be really upset when I hear this, but
One of the Wyans.
What? No. Last
That's actually
call.
not
Final
bad.
guess.
Will Smith,
Tyler
No.
Perry.
No.
Oh,
Morgan
God.
Freeman.
Andy, Josh, last guess?
I got nothing.
No. Chris Rock.
Oh.
Oh my
This would have
god.
been a good movie.
Nicolas Cage and Chris Rock
Best
and
friends.
Courtney Cox.
All right, Lex Luthor. Who was lined up for Lex Luthor?
Sean
Kevin
Malkovich.
Spacey.
Josh, what'd you say?
Kevin Spacey.
You are correct.
So we got
They were looking
Oh.
at him even then.
Yeah.
okay.
They just-
Last one for Brainiac. Who was looking to play
Carrot
Brainiac?
Top.
No.
Damn it! This would have been the greatest movie if it was.
Yeah.
Tom
Woody
Sizemore.
Harrelson.
No for both.
Travolta.
No.
Antonio Banderas.
No.
Michael Madsen.
No.
Jim
Not
Carrey.
Vin Diesel, Chris.
Brainiac.
Ian, what'd you say?
Jim Carrey.
No.
Gene Hackman.
No.
Anthony Edwards.
No.
Damn it.
Goose.
Did anyone say Banderas yet?
Tom Cruise.
I
Yeah.
thought somebody did.
Wasn't Tom Cruise?
Not Brad Pitt.
Just because.
Josh, Andy, one more go. These guys have been throwing out a lot of guesses. What do you
I
got?
know.
Last call.
Brian Dennehy.
No. Andy.
It's Brian
Chris
Dennehy.
Farley.
Tom
No.
Hanks.
All right. Answer is Christopher Walken.
Oh my god, this movie would have been
This
so
would have
fucking
been a good movie. How did this not get made?
Wow.
So
I want to see this.
I tried to
now.
look up there's some production stuff on the internet. One picture that I know a lot of people have probably all seen, or at least if you're familiar with the movie, you've seen it. So I'm going to try to display that now. So there is Nicolas Cage in the suit for Superman.
Yeah, you're still above that. There you go.
I fixed it. It takes a little bit.
Look how badass and
Wait, was
amazing
this
he
was not official production stuff. This is just a
No, this
No,
happened.
these are set photos. These are like costume fittings.
Yeah.
that is a cost that looks like it's photoshopped.
You could eat ice cream off those abs.
That's the costume test.
They
That's what they were going to
show
use.
they show him getting like in the documentary.
I've
They
seen,
had
like-
footage of him getting fitted with that.
I've seen that. It's just like that one just looks like a Photoshop. It's just
And they had a whole suit of like that would like light up and shit. They had like lights wired through it. There was this whole thing. Like when he's reborn, he was gonna wear this light up suit. It was gonna be fucking nuts.
but I thought they didn't want the blue suit thing.
Well,
That's what John Peters said he didn't want.
Okay.
But there's still like some staple things for Superman you have to have in the movie.
Yeah.
No,
the hair's the best
I know,
part.
just think of the Superman
Yeah, Amy, I don't
flying
know about the
with
hair.
the hair blowing in the wind behind him, just flapping.
And that might have been how they wanted to set it apart from previous Supermans. It was just long. They wanted to do long hair.
Imagine that
for-
in the Top Gun theme playing together, and just you're there.
I'd watch
You're
it.
there.
Yeah.
See?
So as the script continued to be rewritten, the budget for the movie continued to grow. Warner Brothers was struggling at the box office at the time. They had tasked the writers to cut back on special effects shots in order to save some money. At that point, Warner Brothers had invested around $30 million into a film that never got off the ground and decided to put the film on hiatus. After that, Burton left. He went to make Sleepy Hollow. Warner Brothers couldn't get a replacement director to move forward with the project. It died. And that was the end of the movie.
Just let Nick
So,
Cage
given-
direct it.
Given the information you know, would you have liked to see this movie, and what do you think it would have been like?
I mean, given everything we just learned, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a shit show, but it's one of those things that you can't look away from. Like, now I want to see it because it's the same thing,
What?
the same reason you watch Cops. It's not to like see a lawful, simple arrest. It's to see somebody try and run and get clotheslined. Like it's
What was the Burton movie that came out before he was going to do this? Was it Batman Returns?
No,
Had it
right
been-
before this one was like Mars Attacks.
yeah, that was
Oh,
like
yeah, I guess if we're in the
96.
late 90s, then yeah. Yeah.
Well, I love Mars Attacks, so I would definitely have seen this.
Like
I
this
think
would
it's one of
get
those-
played on TNT all the time.
Yeah,
It does, and I watch it every time.
Like,
It's amazing.
I'm gonna have a hard time not thinking about Nick Cage's Superman fighting Christopher Walken as Brainiac.
And there's just
Yeah.
a spider in the
Yeah,
background.
there's a
lurking.
spider for whatever reason. They,
It's one of those movies that probably wouldn't be good when it came out, but it's the one you'll come back to like, this is just fun to watch.
This is the greatest
Yeah.
thing this modern
they
cinema.
didn't have a Doomsday cast though.
Not that
Or
I
was
saw.
this going to be like 1997, like Spawn graphics, like we got with Spawn for Doomsday?
Yeah, I guess. Well, if they wanted the budget to come down, I doubt it would be like that, but I don't know.
Okay.
like this might be up there. Like I would have trouble deciding am I watching this or Face Off if this existed.
I'll take his face off.
I mean, if you also remember, like, 97, as they're, I guess, in troubled production, Batman and Robin comes out. It's another one of their movies. It tanks. It gets ripped apart. So think of this. If that movie had done well enough, this might have gotten made.
Well, there's another, when we finally get down to some of the later movies, there's a whole domino effect of, like, from Batman and Robin on, of DC trying to get movies off the ground that just don't work.
So it's similar to the 80s video game crash, where like
A little
E.T.
bit.
ruined video games, Batman and Robin ruined superhero movies.
For DC, yes. Yeah.
I actually saw like an old review of the ET video game. Turns out it's not as bad as everybody said.
It's fucking terrible. Have you ever played that shit?
No, I'm
it's
saying,
the
like,
worst thing. You fall down a fucking pit and you have to like.
You
You have to like try and crane his
No,
neck.
no,
to try
I
and
get
get
I
up.
love
It's
that people
fucking
are be
terrible.
able now to see Andy's face when he
it's
makes
awful.
these
It's
faces
like
when we're doing the
fucking
No,
podcast.
terrible.
It's great.
it's not that it's not bad. It's
awful.
bad,
It's awful.
but it's not the
It's awful.
worst game ever.
It's
The
awful.
way it gets like portrayed as. It's not the
It's-
worst ever.
Maybe
It's
maybe
like
not, but the
100%.
problem is still was how much they made, like how many
100%.
copies.
Oh, well, yeah, that part was ridiculous. But like,
Absurd. They made more copies of the ET game than there were Atari consoles. Like they thought it was gonna sell so well that they would have to make more Atari consoles. Instead,
Oh,
it ruined
fucking dumb.
video games for like a decade.
And the cartridges ended up in a landfill.
yes,
I
supposedly.
think someone found that, right? Like the actual landfill.
Yeah, they dug it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, was ET the one that was a blue cartridge?
I don't
I
think
didn't
so.
No,
Think
no,
so?
I think it was just a normal cartridge.
Okay.
All right, anything to add for Nick Cage and Tim Burton Superman?
I enjoy the Atari.
We were robbed of the treasure.
Like this, Face Off, and National Treasure. This would have been like a great Saturday trilogy.
You know what?
The Nick
We
Cage
may never
trilogy.
get the movie. Maybe we'll get a video game. Maybe if we pressure like Rocksteady, or is it Rocksteady? Are they the ones that make it? The Batman games?
Make what? Yes.
Yeah. Maybe we pressure them enough. They'll make this into a Superman game for us.
Or at
This-
least like a costume, an alternate costume for Superman is Nick Cage's Superman.
Yes.
This feels like something where like some like sports guy buys a video game studio and then makes this game. Like that's what this feels like.
All right, I'm gonna move on to the next one. So, admittedly, this one does not have a lot of information because it never really got off the ground, but it's a fun enough idea. I figured we'd sort of touch on it. So, in the early to mid '90s, years before Bryan Singer's X-Men, there was a director/producer, so it's one person, who met with Stan Lee and Chris Claremont talking about an X-Men movie. Around this time, this person was working with Arnold Schwarzenegger on 2 different movies. Any guesses who this person is that met with Stan Lee and Chris Claremont?
James Cameron.
Correct.
Oh, yes!
You're telling me we could have
Yeah.
had a James Cameron X-Men movie and this didn't happen. All right,
Yeah.
you're about to break my heart.
Well, this one didn't
Written
progress
by
further
Chris
than
Claremont,
like talks.
who is awesome.
yeah, that like
Yeah.
you're talking about like as good as it possibly could have been.
So this was James Cameron and his newly formed Lightstorm Entertainment Studio went to Marvel, met with Stan and Chris. Again, there isn't much information other than a few quotes from Chris Claremont about this meeting, where Claremont had said he envisioned the movie as being produced by James Cameron. The movie would have been directed by Cameron's then-wife, Catherine Bigelow. Claremont goes on to describe their meeting as, quote, "So we're chatting. At one point, Stan looks at Cameron and says, 'So I hear you like Spider-Man.' Cameron's eyes light up. They start talking and talking and talking, and about 20 minutes later, all the Lightstorm guys and I are looking at each other, and we all know the X-Men deal just evaporated." And that's all we got. So that it was in the talking phase. It never got off the ground. I don't even know if there's a script, but that was sort of what Claremont envisioned the movie to be. Claremont also had every time he talks about it, he lists 2 actors for. He wanted to cast Storm and he wanted to cast Wolverine. And Chris Claremont, the writer of these characters, had 2 actors in mind for these characters. So, any guesses to who Chris Claremont wanted for Storm, and any guesses who Chris Claremont wanted for Wolverine?
Is this where the Danny DeVito rumors come from with Wolverine?
Not Danny DeVito, but someone else.
Okay.
This is circa
I
what
was
again?
just
Like
making sure.
95, 96?
Yeah, probably mid 90s. Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
I mean, at that time, the way that it was looking. Jeez.
Mid 90s.
Stallone?
Nope.
Angela Bassett.
For Storm? Yes.
Oh, damn. Nice.
Makes sense.
She would have been a good Storm, but
So for Wolverine, I'd be very surprised if anybody gets this.
Kevin
Is
Costner.
it someone we know or recognize? Like, it's not a...
The name, yes.
Okay.
I just don't think it's something that you guys would picture him in this
Billy
role.
Crystal.
No.
Andy Milonakis.
Just- Keanu.
No. It is not Van Damme. It is not Al Pacino.
Joe Pesci.
Robert De Niro.
De Niro.
De Niro.
Like you're putting it
No.
that way. I'm like, it's got it. Then you're talking about those guys.
Well, the chat was chiming in with those.
Oh. Okay.
I think I'm running out of steam on that.
All right, last go round. One guess, everybody. Ian, anything else?
Liam Neeson.
No. Mike.
Come back to me.
Josh.
Tom Cruise.
No. Andy.
Jackie Chan.
No. Mike.
Jackie Chan threw me for a loop. But
All right, I'll give you all one hint. He was in Roger Rabbit.
Bob Hoskins.
Yes.
what the fuck?
Really? Actually, he probably would have been a badass at Wolverine.
Short, stocky, angry little man as Wolverine. I would fucking actually like to see this.
He was a great actor, so yeah.
Yes.
The
Yes.
only thing with that kind of, like, even like thinking about like Danny
He's
DeVito.
kind of portly
where
though,
you-
not stocky. Like he,
I think with the character though, you still need, in theory, the actor or somebody to realistically be nimble, or at least nimble looking.
Right.
They need to be able to sell that, and I don't.
muscular.
Even if you can fool me on that end, there's something about knowing who like DeVito or Bob Hoskins looks like, and then if you are portraying that character doing something in a live action movie, then like there's no way I can possibly believe that that person is moving that way, performing that way, even though like I know it's a stunt double, it's a thing, it's something. I don't know, that would pull me out so much. I couldn't buy that part of it.
I mean, there's no way he
I
probably
can't
would have
s-
got cast. This is Claremont's, like, if I'm pulling actors out of my head,
Right,
this is
right.
who he's seeing as the character. So that has to go through all the studio checklists of, like, everybody else has to sign off on that before they pay the bill. So there's
Right.
probably no way Hoskins would have got hired for that.
I know.
Well,
And
I feel like Hoskins, like he checks off a couple of the boxes, but he misses so many of the others.
I think
Name one
Hoskins
box he misses.
would have been an excellent Logan as far as like all the dialogue parts and him sitting there being like, "Hey, bub," with the cigar and everything. But as soon as he went to like,
having to be
pop
Wolverine.
the claws and
It's the
start-
action stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
wouldn't have
that's a
done
good
it.
point.
Yeah.
This would have worked
I
because
mean,
this would
just
have
look
been
at Hugh Jackman,
completely narrative
who
role.
didn't like not check those two boxes that Bob Hoskins checks with stocky and short,
Right.
and we got a really damn good Wolverine out of Hugh Jackman for a
Yeah,
long
we
time.
did.
Yeah, and
So,
I don't think it's a Hugh Jackman bias, like just because they cast someone as young as he was at the time, but something like if they were to try to envision like our next Wolverine through that lens, I don't picture Wolverine as looking older. And someone like a Bob Hoskins or an actor who might more fit that stature, like they would still have to be like 30 to 35 probably in order for me to like see like Logan does not look like he's 50, 55, 60 to me.
right.
No, he talks like it, but he doesn't look
Right.
like it. So it's a tough role to cast. But Bob Hoskins, I feel like, again, checks a couple of boxes, but Eddie Valiant ain't checking all of them. That's
All right, so we're hung up on Bob Hoskins, but what about this movie, Angela Bassett as Storm, produced by James Cameron,
A+.
directed by Catherine Bigelow? If this had panned out,
I think they should give Catherine Bigelow an X-Men movie to do now.
Yeah.
oh, for sure, yeah.
Screw it, I would still like to see the hell out of that.
And Angela Bassett is Storm A+.
She
That's fine.
still.
There's nothing
I
wrong
think
with
she
that.
still could play Storm.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
There's an actress who was on American Gods, and actually just had this like exact conversation with Mark Bernardin on his like kind of offshoot podcast called Black Man Beyond. And she was like not really petitioning publicly, but like very publicly saying like, if you are casting for Storm in this new iteration of X-Men, like I would love to be it. She's a very uncommon name, so it's hard for me to remember how to pronounce it correctly. But if you've seen the American Gods version of the Neil Gaiman books on Starz, she's the black actress who plays sort of the like northern African goddess who's now I think in like the South, maybe Louisiana area of the U.S. But if you're familiar with her, I'll see if I can find it and throw it in the chat or something. She would actually be a really good fit if they were going to do that. Like I think Angela Bassett would be a good pick. I know this is going to sound bad. I don't know if like the current Angela Bassett.
It depends what age they want to get to.
Yeah, and I hate to say it that way, but like that would be it.
I felt personally, up until Marvel bought Fox, and it can't happen now because they're going to exist in the same universe. But I had thought that Lupita Nyong'o would have been fantastic as Storm. When they existed in two separate universes, that was a thing that we could have seen. But now we can't.
When
really
you talk
do that,
about a movie with that producing, that directing talent, and the second best X-Men writer, it would have had to have been kind of good.
You'd hope, yeah.
Whoa.
Second best. Bendis.
Who?
Michael Bendis.
We can have that discussion another time, but I'm not. We can have it.
Don't take the
time.
bait, Mike. Don't take the bait.
I would actually. You know what? I would invite that debate as just a discussion we can have off recording at some point, because I'd actually really like to have that discussion. He's not wrong about number 2 being Bendis.
Number.
It's not what I said.
But it's what you meant.
Number 2.
All right. Any last call for Cameron and Bigelow's X-Men?
Every time you say that name, I keep thinking European Gigolo.
You can't say Bigelow without.
Like I've almost said it every time you've said her name.
The last thing I'll say about it is like, sometimes if people kick around the idea of like, wouldn't it be awesome to have Steven Spielberg do a superhero movie? In my opinion, no. I don't think he has the right type of creative mind to bring something unique. I think it would be very cookie cutter.
Okay.
I don't think he's a good fit for it. Someone like James Cameron, especially 25 years ago, before the last 12 years of superhero movies have happened, yes, I would have absolutely loved to see that vision.
Coming off Aliens and T2 and
True Lies.
I mean, yeah, True Lies. Cameron at that time, fuck yes. Cameron now, I don't know as much now if I would be.
Well, he's busy now.
Into Cameron. Well, no, he's busy now. He's
got 10 Avatar movies to make.
Like that's gonna be so impressive when those all finally come out. And he's like, "This is my life's work.
Yeah.
It's making 10 Avatar movies."
He's gonna die immediately after that. It's just gonna be spent and just call it quits and be done.
Like I'm waiting to see if those come out or George R.R. Martin finishes the books.
Yeah, we'll see.
And then they actually remake the entire series with his ending. That will all happen before Avatar's done.
But in Avatar. Like it's a show on the Avatar planet.
They're watching
Let
Game
me
of
just
Thrones
throw this
through the
out there,
Avatar
though,
movie, but it's got the right
for you
ending.
fellow X-Men fans that grew up with the X-Men for so long, we had the possibility of a James Cameron X-Men coming in the mid to late 90s.
That would have been.
And instead we got Bryan Singer.
Now, those
be
movies
fair,
weren't terrible, but...
Yeah, Singer's first X-Men movie, I think, holds up. I like that movie a lot.
X2 holds up.
X2 was by far
really
better
good.
than the first one, but the first one's still good.
Was X2 the United one, or was that 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
3 was United.
No, 3 was Last Stand.
Last Stand.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because then everyone made fun of it because they're like, "There's no way they're stopping at 3 X-Men movies."
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know. I would argue a lot about that first X-Men movie doesn't stand up. It didn't stand up to me at the time. Like, it didn't hold up.
I feel like
the look of Sabretooth was absolute
If you haven't
horseshit
watched
from the
it,
start.
and I mean, like, God willing, that will, like, X-Men
It
will
took
get
me out of it.
selected on the Wheel of Fate at some point soon.
Yeah, we will have to watch it.
True.
If you
hope so.
haven't, I think if you haven't seen it in a while, like at least 5 years, I think that there's a tendency to think it is
I can
better
speak
than
to-
it was.
I did that. I just recently watched it again for the first time in a long time, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I feel like I watched it sometime in the last couple of years, but I still remember liking it. I think it does what it needs to as a movie. It sets the world. It gives you. It's a quick movie. It's like 90 minutes. Like for people that don't get into comic book movies, that was what was needed at the time. It works.
I grew up with the X-Men, so it still has that nostalgic feeling for me. It still has that hit of like, oh, dude, they fucking nailed so many parts of this. It's just the things that take you out of it really take me
Yeah,
out.
I feel like
okay.
James Cameron would have given us the traditional costumes.
Yeah. We wouldn't get the black leather
Or,
Neo
yeah.
So
suit.
we'd
Yeah.
still have
or
never
at
fucking
least
seen on
a
Wolverine.
modification of them enough that it still would have made sense.
You're still like, okay,
Do you know
that's
how pissed
Wolverine.
off I
Yeah.
am? I've never seen Wolverine in his actual costume. We've never once
Yeah.
got to see that on film.
It's up to Marvel now.
So, well, Marvel will do it.
Yeah.
So they've heard that feedback for 25 years or however long it's been. 23. What was it 97? The first X-Men came out.
2000.
Yeah.
Oh, it was 2000. So 20 years.
Well, I would say, God willing, if you stick with us for the next 8 years as we try to get through Rewind Theater, we will eventually, as a group, rewatch the first X-Men movie.
Yeah, it hasn't
I feel
even made the
like-
Wheel of Six yet.
I feel like Rewind Theater is never going to end because every time a new comic book movie comes out, it'll be added to Rewind Theater.
Well,
So,
I think we need to leave the list at where it's at.
For
where
now.
Rewind Theater needs to look at things of the past.
Yeah, for now.
We
Yeah,
can't
gotta
look
let
at
some stuff
we
age.
can't look at things of the future because we're going to be reviewing those new comic book films when they come out as is. So like when Black Widow comes out, we're going to review it. And what happens if we put it on the list and it ends up on the wheel?
But we wouldn't get to it for
A
like
month
12
later.
years.
Yeah.
Like, because that would be at the
You
end
don't
of
know
the
that.
MCU movies, though. So that's
So-
like already 40
Well,
movies.
That one, yeah, that one specifically. But I'm saying like,
I think Mike's
True.
right. I think you almost have to have like, like Football Hall of Fame. You have to be out of the league for this many years before you can be entered into the Hall of Fame. I feel like a
I
movie
feel like
has
we
to
should have
be.
instituted that role before.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like-
well, so can I then ask, why did no one bring up this seemingly valid point before we included Bloodshot to begin
I
with?
feel
have
like
no
we
idea.
did. We just none of us had actually watched it, so we were like, "Fuck it."
Yeah, I hadn't seen it, so I figured it'd be an excuse to watch it. But I also figured we'll get to it eventually, not third on the list. So
And also, that was a lot of lists to look at, and I will admit, after a certain point, I was like, I'm not going through all of these to cut stuff. I'm just going to try and cut things.
all right,
Wait,
we'll get ready
B.
to move on.
It was B, L. Like it
Well,
was.
I didn't go alphabetically. I just was rolling around, rolling in the mud there.
I just happened to look at chat too. Sean's telling us that wear glasses mandatory for the podcast. I did not realize that we are all suddenly wearing glasses tonight, which we don't normally do.
Well, you say
Oh, yeah.
suddenly, but I've always worn glasses.
Well, true. Yeah, some of us have.
Ditto,
I guess
ditto.
more me. I usually don't wear the glasses when I do it. So I guess we're looking
I'm-
sophisticated for 200. That's the way to do it.
I ran out of
That's why Eric's not on.
ran out of contacts like a week ago. So glasses.
Nice.
Well, that's also
all
good
right.
because we don't want you to hurt yourself again.
I did hurt myself pretty bad putting in contacts the one time. It was
R.I.P.
pretty awful. I was
Press F in chat.
I was out of
F in
commission
chat
for
for
several
Mike.
days.
All right, for the next one. So we're segueing from Cameron talking about X-Men and then talking about Spider-Man to Cameron possibly talking or having a Spider-Man movie. So after his meeting with Stan, Cameron decided to try to write a short script for a Spider-Man movie. There is a Spider-Man script that is supposedly Cameron circling around the internet for years. You can't really verify, or it's hard to tell if it's legit or not, but there is one out there if you want to check it out. I have a link with me actually in my outline here, so I don't know if I can post it in chat, but I can, at the very least, I'll put it on the Facebook page and stuff whenever we talk about the thing later. It's a weird script. It's definitely more adult. It's a serious tone for a Spider-Man film, maybe too serious. In his story treatment, Cameron describes Peter Parker as, quote, your basic sexually pent-up adolescent.
Yeah.
And features Peter Parker spying on Mary Jane in her underwear
Yeah.
more than once.
Yeah.
Eventually has Mary Jane and Spider-Man having sex on top of the Manhattan Bridge.
Of course.
Oh, damn.
In general terms, it's a masked man has sex with a high school student that involves bondage and spider mating rituals.
Whoa.
Wait.
Spider mating
wait.
rituals?
That's
Yeah,
apparently
is-
how Cameron writes
is
Spider-Man
that a
having
thing?
sex. That it's
Is
more
that a
spider
whole-
than man.
Don't spiders
feel like
lay
I haven't-
eggs that then
Yeah.
get like
I
fertilized?
didn't
and...
look. That's
But
just
he's
what
a
it said.
male?
Well, this was
So
gonna be a Vor movie.
Later in the script, there was some sort of exchange between Mary Jane and Spider-Man where Mary Jane says, "I love you," and Spider-Man replies, "Cool." All of this is
That's
before.
relatable. That's relatable.
All of this is before Mary Jane knows Spider-Man's identity, so she is declaring her love for Spider-Man, not Peter Parker.
Oh, so the whole time, like, they're having sex on the
Wait,
bridge,
wait.
she's having sex with some, like, random spider-like dude that she
Which is
doesn't
the whole
know.
masked man
so
having
doesn't know
sex
how
with a
old
high
he
school
is.
That
student.
upside down kiss that we actually got was inspired by an upside down fuck that happened.
Maybe, I don't know.
All right.
The script has Spider-Man saying
Does it do the same thing
motherfucker
at
a couple
Wednesdays?
times, which is
Oh, wow.
also weird.
That's
Yeah.
not on brand.
The villains featured were supposed to be Electro and Sandman. Electro would not be Max Dillon, as he is in the comics. He would be a character called Strand, who is described as a Donald Trump-like businessman. Strands also has a girlfriend that would be named Cordelia. At one point, he seems to try to rape her, but ends up killing her with his powers, then electrocuting her back to life. And it's implied he does this to her multiple times.
This is
What,
very
Burton
similar
from the
to a
catalog
book
in
I
Russia,
read,
too?
like a book series I'm reading by a small
Of course
indie
Ian
author.
would
I'll have
read
to
stuff
go
like
get
this.
that during the break and plug
Right
it.
on brand for Ian, I'm sure it is.
But also, this sounds a lot like 50 Shades of Grey with Spider-Man.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, in the same vein that oh shit, what was the Superman as a Jagoff movie last year?
Brightburn.
Brightburn.
Yeah.
This kind of feels like it could go that way. Like you could almost make this movie if it was along there. Like it's obviously not Spider-Man, but it is a being with abilities similar to said character, and these things happen. Like it's
Well,
like
what's
a
weird
really
to me is
dark
like
way.
if Cameron liked Spider-Man and this is the story he wrote for being a fan of Spider-Man, how much did he care about X-Men and what the hell would the X-Men movie look like?
Bunch of fucking. Just orgies.
Fucking Wolverine pops 6 dildos out instead of claws.
It
Wait,
might have
that's
looked
just
a
that
lot like
Kevin Smith, like, Star Wars ripoff.
Yeah, exactly.
There was one thing from Cameron's script that actually carries over into Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Can anyone tell me what the detail was for Spider-Man that carries over and Sam Raimi used? I don't know if it was
detail
from that
about
script
Spider-Man?
or if Raimi had the same idea.
Sexually
there is a
frustrated
similar
Spider-Man.
detail.
Web actually comes out of him instead of a device.
What'd you say, Mike?
That the web comes out of him instead of a device.
Yes.
Hashtag white spider liquid. Buy the shirt.
See,
There
it's
is a
all
white
it's all on
spider
it's all
liquid
on
shirt.
brand. Yeah, the organic web
It is
shooters.
there. It exists.
Organic web shooters were in Cameron's version of the script.
I wonder how they were used.
Oh, Jesus.
Possibly in the mating rituals if you
Right.
go through all that crap.
Hashtag white spider
Um,
liquid.
I'm
Which
So-
honestly, let me say. So on that part of it, I saw the first Spider-Man movie. I think in theaters, really not actually truly knowing stuff about the characters. I'm like, oh, these comic book movies, they're okay, whatever. But on the one hand, like I didn't know that was different. That was a change they had made. But honestly, like for cinematic purposes, that's not a dumb decision to make. It actually makes things go quite like a lot more simple. You don't have to show, okay, how does he engineer this stuff? How does he make the device? Do we have to believe that such a young person is able to do it, etc.?
Except that's
it
part
kinda
of Peter
worked.
Parker. Like Peter Parker is the scientist. That's a clue to Peter Parker's psyche. Is he is the guy that can create this stuff. He is smart enough to do it.
True, and I mean, at least I felt like in the at least the first two Spider-Mans, like they give you that enough. Like he is an intelligent person. He's a problem solver. He's intellectual, etc. Like so, like that part still came through to me. So I didn't feel like as an ignorant viewer that was like it didn't degrade that part of his character.
Right. Well, there's another layer to Cameron's organic web shooters. Not only are the web shooters organic, but part of Peter Parker's character is that he's self-conscious about the organic web shooters and sees himself as a freak. So he makes fake web shooters to put over his wrists to hide the organic ones.
That's a
So it's almost like
redundancy.
trying to have the best of both worlds there. Like, why not just pick one or the other?
Yeah, what does that accomplish?
How fucking high were
Well, he's a sexually frustrated teenager. It's a fucking allegory.
Yeah, that goes back to the sexually pent up adolescent.
He's just shooting white spider liquid everywhere, and he's upset about it because it makes him feel weird, and he doesn't know
Ian's really
why his
plugging that
body
shirt.
changes.
Really plugging that shirt.
You could find now in the Leroy Dreamkiller Teespring store.
Exclamation point links.
BGS
It's all there.
You actually can, guys. It's 100% real. Go to Leroy the Dream Killer's.
It's on
Teespring
leggings.
store.
Probably.
Wait, Josh just discovered that now.
Did you put it on a
Oh no, I
sports
remember
bra
seeing it
yet?
last time.
BGS 20 for 20% off.
All right, so trivia question for this one. During my research, one name kept popping up as an actor that would have been rumored to play Peter Parker Spider-Man in Cameron's version of Spider-Man. Any guesses who that actor would be?
Matt Damon.
No.
Elijah Wood.
No.
When are we talking? This is like late 90s?
Mid to late 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, probably more mid 90s, I guess.
Macaulay Culkin.
No.
Damn.
Vin Diesel.
It's going to make sense when you hear the name.
I've heard it before. I just can't remember honestly what it is.
Huh, I can't come up with anything.
Matthew Broderick.
No.
Andy Milonakis.
No.
I can't think of anybody good enough. Like, it's just, it's got to be like someone either like a teenage actor or someone in their early enough 20s. Maybe they could play. Well, I mean, frick, they cast Tobey Maguire to play 18 at like 25. No one around that era is coming to mind right now.
I feel like Chris in the chat is just going to keep guessing Vin Diesel for everything. It is not Vin Diesel.
He's the best
Vanderbeek's
bearded
actually a
man
good
in
guess, but it
movies.
is not Vanderbeek.
Oh, Jason Biggs.
No.
Ah,
Joshua Jackson
No.
or whatever his name was.
No, it's not. It's
The
not a
other
Dawson's
kid from
Creek
that
alumni.
show. Oh, well, you said that. I just
No, it's just a name that hadn't occurred to me, but I was like, hey, you know what? I could see that.
Justin Long.
Paul Walker.
No. No.
Seth Green.
No. All right, one more guess from everybody.
Seth Rogen.
No.
He's sexually frustrated.
Brian O'Halloran.
No.
We just doing Kevin Smith alum now?
That's
Josh,
that was the
anything?
idea.
Nah.
Andy?
You got nothing.
Chris, are you guessing Tommy Oliver? Is that your guess?
Like the actor or the
Tommy
character
Oliver.
of Tommy Oliver?
Okay, Jason David Frank. No, it is not Jason David Frank. All right, so
Yes.
around this time,
I still need
Cameron
to
does
see
not
that, though,
make
Chris.
Spider-Man. He goes on to make Titanic.
DiCaprio.
Leo.
It was DiCaprio.
Fuck.
Was the name that kept coming up.
So a DiCaprio Spider-Man that fucks everything in sight. And this is not made by Quentin Tarantino. This is actually James Cameron.
Yeah. Again, that script, I have no idea if that script would have flied. You had to think there had to be plenty of rewrites between that script and what came to the screen.
I mean, he was a force, though, at that time. He could have gotten it made.
Yeah,
Well,
I was gonna
true,
say James
true.
Cameron could get away with a lot if he wanted to, but
So this version of the movie, DiCaprio is Spider-Man, James Cameron's fucking
Everything.
fuck all Spider-Man. What do you think?
Yes.
I'm trying to think of because I mean a version of this essentially exists then with like the Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, right? 'Cause, I mean that was DiCaprio at that time
Yeah.
being a pompous ass teenager fucking everything he could, which happened to be Juliet because that was it, to piss off his parents and not understanding what was going on. I mean it's essentially that movie with a spider suit.
And
Yeah,
well,
and it probably
I
would have came out before, maybe.
Don't think too hard into it, Josh.
I'm trying to draw too many parallels between the two, and I should not. Yeah,
We get Mercutio as Venom. That's all we need
But is
to
this
know.
also
It's-
just
we're done.
like the Basketball Diaries? With Spider-Man?
Oh yeah, like crash those two things together
Yeah.
like that with the Romeo and Juliet. That's actually a pretty.
Might be more fun
Good
if it was
metaphor.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
That
That doesn't fit the rest of the story.
As I was, I mean, as much
Cancel me. I
as
don't
much
care.
as it sounded like I definitely wanted to see a Cameron produced X-Men, I think like just as much I don't really care for this.
Yeah, the names attached is like, oh, this would be amazing until you read the story. Again, if this is legit, the
Yeah.
story treatment that's out there, it's fucking weird.
Fuck anything that moves. It would have
Yeah.
been great.
Spider-Man banging Mary Jane,
Spying on
in
her
public.
multiple times.
Right.
In spying on her being a weird creep and everything. That's just as on character as Batman killing people.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
That'd
this
be
way-
how
at
they
this
met.
time-
She like catches him spying on her, and she's like, "I'm into this too."
Watch me.
Eventually, she does say she loves him, so maybe she is into the voyeuristic stuff. Like, who knows?
Cool.
Yeah, the Cameron version of Mary Jane. Yeah.
I mean, I will say, like, this is why I kind of made the Brightburn analogy, because if you were to write something that was more real life grounded and in the world of reality as we know it, if somebody was given the physical abilities to do what Spider-Man could do, would a teenage boy quite possibly use it for some of those purposes?
Oh,
and the
yeah.
answer is absolutely yes.
Absolutely.
But
I'm
the
doing it right
point
now.
was-
I'm a grown man. What the fuck? Like,
but the point was,
give me X-ray
you know.
vision as a grown man. Do you know what the fuck I'm gonna do?
Rob
God.
10 banks.
Yeah, totally. It's just gonna be banks that I rob. That's it.
just a lot of that,
Like it.
lot of vault clearing.
Andy, you're a little quiet over there. Are you going to see this movie?
Sorry.
Probably not. It seems pretty creepy, actually.
Wow, the voice of reason.
All right, so what happened to this movie? In 1985, Marvel had sold the rights to Spider-Man to Canon Films. Their movie was rumored to be a campy horror film in which Peter Parker turns into a mutated spider monster and battles the Lizard in the sewers of New York. Obviously, that has nothing to do with the character of Spider-Man, but Canon Films eventually went under, and so Carl Co. Pictures stepped in and secured the rights to Spider-Man at the urging of James Cameron. Before the production could get underway, Carl Co. was running out of money, and some of their films bombed at the box office. On top of that, the Spider-Man rights were so convoluted that Carl Co. were tied up in an extensive legal battle between themselves, Viacom, and Columbia Pictures. So the film sat in development hell until all the legal stuff was figured out. So in 1996, it all came to a head. Carl Co. and Marvel both declared bankruptcy, and at the time, the rights to Spider-Man reverted back to Marvel. But Marvel just as quickly sold the rights to Sony in order to climb out of bankruptcy, and the rest is history.
You know what? If it would have kept it away from Sony, then yes, I would have wanted to see this movie. Just saying.
All right, so next one, which again is one it's more just kind of a rumor. There's not a lot of details for this one. In 1999, the rights to Iron Man had belonged to 20th Century Fox. In October of that year, the studio was trying to court a specific director and supposedly had an actor already lined up for Tony Stark. Any guesses who the director and actor are for Iron Man in 1999? I know some of you know this.
Yeah, the
Michael Bay.
No.
the actor was Tom Cruise.
Actor was Tom Cruise, yes.
Yeah, that
I
I've
remember.
heard. I have not heard
The director I have not.
Michael Bay was my guess just because explosion. Just,
Guy
Because-
Ritchie.
Explosion. Oh,
No, but it is another like
that would be a
auteur
movie I would
director.
watch though.
Another what?
It's like an auteur director, someone that's known for doing their own stuff.
Tarantino.
Yes.
Oh,
Tarantino, Tom Cruise, Iron Man.
That was the rumor.
That would have. Okay. I.
So how do you think
I'm-
of a
I'm intrigued.
Tarantino directed, Tom Cruise starring Iron Man in 1999?
that might not have been bad.
It would have
Yeah.
been different at the
Like,
very
Yeah,
least.
yeah.
Tarantino and Tom Cruise have never worked together, as far as I can remember, have they?
I don't believe so.
I don't.
As far as I know, they
Yeah, I don't
never.
think.
He hasn't appeared in any of the movies Tarantino's done. So I would actually be interested to see, because Tarantino doesn't put up with, like, Tarantino demands a lot of his actors, and Tom Cruise kind of runs the show on his sets a lot of the time,
There
supposedly.
might be a lot of headbutting
Might be
there.
a- Yeah, I don't know if that movie would get finished.
I don't know if
As
that was
is.
before. That might have been. That was probably before like Tom Cruise was really head on into the producer part of it.
Okay, yeah, true. Because that would have been shortly after what, MI2?
It would have been right
It
before.
would have been before 3.
Yeah, MI2 was
No, it'd been
was
before, too.
2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would have been right in that zone. So yeah, he wasn't there. It was like around 4 that he really took the reins.
Yeah, somewhere mid Mission Impossible
So-
franchise where he started producing everything too. Yeah. Yeah, it would have been different. I don't know if I would have liked it, but having what we compare to now, like knowing that we have RDJ
Well,
as Tony Stark and that kicked off the whole universe, it's hard to see something else besides that.
And that's what Chris said in chat is like with Downey already there, it's tough, but I still feel like Tom Cruise, if anybody else could do it.
I'd like to see him
like...
try for sure. I'd like to see what that attempt would look like.
So what
'Cause I don't know
studio would have put that out? It wouldn't have been Marvel Studios at that point.
It
Correct.
was Fox,
20th,
you said,
20th
right?
Century Fox, yeah.
Okay.
So they would have had X-Men also. So we could have had an interconnected universe with X-Men and Iron Man back then.
Sean, you say if Downey stops, we write. You have seen Endgame, right?
No
Sean's in
spoilies.
chat. Yeah, I don't think Sean's seen a lot of the MCU movies. We got to get you fixed on that, Sean.
I'm still working my way through.
Okay. Well. Oh, no spoilers then.
Well, if he's in here, spoilers might be fair game. Watch yourself. That's your spoiler warning. If you haven't seen the MCU stuff, watch out. We may slip.
Oh, didn't I? Oh, I spoiled the Fast movies for Josh like last time.
Yeah, but he
I've
wasn't already
literally already
forgotten.
forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? The
He's gonna
entire
forget the
story
whole
with
movie
Letty
after he
that
watches
you
it anyway, so
supposedly
it doesn't
spoiled
matter.
Didn't make any fucking sense anyways. Okay?
I don't think he's
whole
retained
Letty
anything from the
thing never
movies
made sense.
we've already watched, so I think it's fine.
For whatever reason, something about these
Boom and crash. That's what it remembers.
something about these popped in my
Coronas.
head like a week or two ago, and not all, but very strongly, what immediately comes to mind about the first one is the character that I called Mousy the whole time.
Yeah.
That
Jesse.
then gets like wasted, and then I'm like, oh, I didn't really care about him. Why are they upset?
I watched the first two of those movies a lot, and after that, I think I've seen them each. Well, no, 3 I've watched like 2 times. After that, I think it's once each. So
Well, point being for me, it's not probably the strongest plot points and emotional high marks that the movie makers are hoping will stick with you have, stayed connected to me. So don't worry about any spoilers that have been shared recently,
Well, no, you're getting to one where you'll cry during it soon. So,
because it's like only halfway over and I can't believe that. Or
well, I think that scene
That
actually
too.
happens
Probably
around
more
the halfway
likely.
point.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean,
All right, spinning them back around. I want to get Ian in here. Ian,
Yeah.
Tarantino and Tom Cruise for Tony Stark. What do you think?
like that's a great combo. I would have liked to see more of with the current Iron Man movies, more of Pepper Potts' feet, and we would have gotten that with Tarantino. So I think this could have been a very excellent '90s movie.
I got nothing for that one. Andy, what do you got anything to add for
Google
that?
Pepper Potts.
I
Pete.
definitely think it could have been
Pepper
interesting.
Potts, Pete,
I
everyone.
mean, Tarantino has, his own style, and I think it would be fun to see him shaping Tom Cruise into what he wanted. Because I feel like even though Tom Cruise is very, things have to be his way, I think for a Tarantino movie, he would do what Tarantino wanted him to do. You know what I mean?
That's a fair point. Yeah.
I honestly think there's a reason the two haven't worked together. And it's because Tom Cruise has his reputation, Tarantino has his, and they don't look to each other professionally.
Which could be.
yeah, they might know it's not a good mix to do a project.
Yeah, like they both know, like, if I'm not in charge, I'm going to be a pain in the ass. And
All right, so just like there's not a lot of material as to what this movie was going to be, not too many details or anything. There's not a lot that says why it didn't happen. Most of what I read just kind of said Tarantino was still a little gun shy to try to take on a film that didn't involve characters he created. The only movie he had done up to that point with characters he didn't create was Jackie Brown, which was not very well received by critics. And also it seemed like Fox was just desperately trying to push this movie into development while they still had the rights, which, sounds familiar for them. So the rumored script included a new origin story for Tony Stark, had him facing off against MODOK. Ultimately, Tarantino passed on the movie. Fox sold the Iron Man rights back to Marvel. And 2006, we got Iron Man.
you say that, and I want to see it more, though, because I want to see Tarantino's take on MODOK.
Yeah, because that's something they haven't done. No, they did. Wait, no, they did.
They haven't, nobody's done MODOK.
Yeah, who's the Zola? I was
Zola.
confusing
Yeah, they
Zola
did
and
Arnim
MODOK.
Zola. They didn't. Yeah. MODOK is much more like a mangled, mutated being than Zola is.
Right.
Zola is just like a technological being.
Yeah,
Whereas I feel like Tarantino could have done some cool shit with MODOK. Like that would have been pretty
well,
cool.
maybe it exists in some alternate universe somewhere.
Don't tease me like that.
Find the gateway, Mike. All right, so
Sparky.
next one. Before director Tim Story brought the Fantastic Four to the big screen in 2005, other directors were in the running to direct Fantastic Four. What MCU director almost brought Fantastic Four to the big screen for Fox?
Joss Whedon.
No.
Kenneth Branagh.
No.
Was it Favreau?
No.
Oh, I thought I heard that.
I'm out of directors.
Well, we know it's not like Taika Waititi or
Probably not
them
Whedon.
or
Andy, you got a guess?
No,
Nothing's coming to mind currently.
who directed the Incredible Hulk?
Ang Lee.
I mean, I know the answer to that, but I don't want to tell you.
So it is that answer. Okay.
No, I will say it's not. Well, yeah, it's not that. Okay, so it's Louis Leterrier was the guy that did Incredible Hulk. So it's not him.
Why didn't you want to tell me?
Because I just want to. I want to let you guess wrong.
Oh, well,
I
all
I
right.
don't think James Gunn was being offered director jobs at that point. He was still
No.
writing and stuff.
Nope.
Um,
He has so far
The Russo
directed two
brothers
movies
weren't really a thing
in the
yet.
MCU.
2.
James Gunn.
No.
Oh, well then it's got to be what's his name? Fuck. Why am I blanking on
it's
his
not
name?
Favreau.
Give me the movie that he
Ant-Man
directed.
and Ant-Man the Wasp.
Yes.
Why am I blanking on that?
Pauly
guy?
Shore.
No.
Hey, you're looking it up. Not fair.
No googling,
We
Josh.
can see you
We
reach.
googled it.
We
I
can
saw
see you
him. I
reach.
saw him.
I won't answer.
Andy, last call.
Edgar Wright.
No. Well, that was the original director of Ant-Man, but that's not who
he
directed
was
the movie.
supposed- Why am I blanking on
Ian,
his
you
name?
probably haven't even watched those yet, right?
I've seen Ant-Man,
Okay.
but I
You
don't.
don't remember who?
Just tell me the name.
I didn't
know-
stick
I know
around
who-
for the credits, I guess.
Mike, last call.
I can't remember his name. I don't know why. Like
It's Peyton Reed.
Peyton Reed.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Peyton Reed was on tap to do Fantastic Four. So back in 2002, the screenwriter for Peyton Reed's version of Fantastic Four was Doug Petrie, who wrote a few episodes of Buffy and Angel around that time. More recently wrote some episodes of Daredevil for Netflix. In an interview with MTV, Petrie described it as being like a Hard Day's Night, but with superheroes. He also said that it's a little more of a family comedy. Peyton Reed confirmed this pitch while talking with Collider last year. Said it would have been set in the 60s. They would have skipped the origin story. The story would have just jumped in with the Fantastic Four at the height of their popularity. Being in the public eye, the
Okay.
Fantastic Four are the coolest superheroes in the city. Everyone loves them. But when they get home, they don't get along well behind closed doors. So Reed went on to say that Fox saw the film as more of a B movie. Reed didn't agree to that, so he left the project.
So they
Okay.
could have just lied to him and he would have made it.
Possibly, I guess, yeah. So while the movie never got as far to get into the casting phase, the writer, Petrie, listed who he would have liked to see cast in the film. I'm just going to give them to you because I don't know if people... Well, I'll let you guess a couple. So, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and The Thing. And Dr. Doom. Those are the main players for this. So any guesses as to who would have been cast for some of these roles? In 2002.
2002. Ben Affleck.
No.
Matt Damon.
No.
Brian
Jim Carrey.
O'Halloran.
Wait, which company was this? Was this still Fox?
I think this was still Fox.
Okay.
Because I think Fox was shopping the idea around. They just couldn't get a director to nail it down.
Right. Tom Cruise.
Nope.
Oh.
Some of these names I think have been tossed around for previous roles.
Andy
They were incorrect
Milonakis.
guesses earlier.
Andy Milonakis.
No.
Guess that for every role, and I love it.
Stallone for Reed Richards.
No.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Reed Richards is the one I don't think anybody's going to get, but the other ones might have a
Antonio.
chance.
Tim Daly.
Antonio Banderas.
No.
Jennifer
Gary
Aniston
Oldman.
for Sue Storm.
No.
Meg Ryan.
No.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
No. No, Chris,
I
it is
think
not
I'm-
Vin Diesel.
Is it Vin Diesel, though?
Michael Douglas.
No.
Keanu Reeves.
No.
Nick
I feel like
Cage.
we're getting to that 30 seconds. You guys want any more guesses?
Ronald Reagan.
No.
He was an actor. That counts. Kind of.
I got nothing of substance.
Yeah, nothing.
James Vanderbeek.
No.
Uh,
All right, I'm going through them. Reed Richards. This is the one I don't think anybody would have got. Alexis Denisof.
Who?
the fuck is that?
He's a Buffy and Angel alum.
Nice.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Oh,
Okay.
Sarah would have known that. Well, she would recognize the name.
So is David Boreanaz in here
No.
too?
That's the
Oh.
only like alum from the Whedonverse. Sue Storm, Charlize Theron,
Ah.
Johnny Storm,
I still like that.
Paul Walker.
Ah.
I don't.
I
like
love
that.
that.
The rumor was
Is
voice
Johnny
of Ben
Storm?
Grimm, so I don't know if he'd do motion capture or costume or
Just
what
paint
he'd
him
do. But
orange.
John C. Riley for Ben Grimm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's make it now.
And Doctor Doom, he wanted Jude Law.
Okay. That's safe.
Yeah,
That
I'm
probably
okay
would
with
have been
that.
good, yeah.
That would have been like
Yeah, Jude Law pretty much kills everything that he
early,
does.
and that would have been like early enough Jude Law. I think that he was like just kind of getting a lot of like A-list household recognition.
Yeah, he wasn't Dumbledore yet.
Yeah.
In other words, like
I mean, that was
it's-
even a couple years before. What was it called? Closer. I think that he did with like Clive Owen and Julia Roberts and stuff. So that was that still around like Alfie time?
Alfie?
I'm catching up on chat. Amy,
feel
I didn't
like
see
Jude
it
Law
before, but
really-
yes, you are right. Jude Law. Good guess. And yes, you are right. Sandy Rivers. Alexis Denisof is Sandy Rivers in How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, holy shit!
I said Jude. I win.
Sandy Rivers as Reed Richards.
Yes.
That's a hard no from me.
The real Easter egg too is Sandy Rivers is the other that talks to Loki in the Avengers in full makeup. That gives him the scepter at the beginning of Avengers. That is Alexis Denisof.
Thanos' mouthpiece.
Wait. You mean the guy with like 6 fingers
Yep.
and whatever?
Yep.
That's him in full makeup?
Yep.
Holy shit. That's impressive.
Yeah, changing your mind, aren't you?
That's some good voice acting for him because he sounds nothing like that.
I mean, I don't know if it's his voice, but that's him in the costume.
Oh.
I mean,
I don't know what they do post production, but
it's probably his voice. Why would you cast that person, put him in unrecognizable makeup, and not use his own voice? Like, what would be
Yeah,
the point
fair.
of that?
Yeah, fair point.
Like, could you imagine they did that with Darth Vader?
He's got a point.
What's funny is David Prowse still holds a grudge to that to this day. Like he's still pissed that they didn't use his English accent for Darth Vader.
Well, think of how much more those royalty checks would be.
I mean, let's be honest about this. The guy can go suck an egg because James Earl Jones has like one of the best voices ever recorded.
I mean, you don't
for
have to sell
anything.
us. You have to sell David Prowse on that. Like,
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's just like fuck off, dude. Like you were Vader in the costume. That's cool, but come on. Are you seriously complaining that they chose James Earl Jones's voice over yours?
Yes. Like, that's so
Good
much
fuck.
money.
No, I get complaining about the money.
You
But
can't come out and say it's about the money, so you say it's about the voice.
No. I understand why. Like, I understand wanting more money. I'm not saying I don't understand that. What I'm saying is I don't understand, like, oh, they should have used my voice instead of James Earl Jones. No, they shouldn't have. Not in any fucking universe ever.
Like one of those things
All
if
right,
someone
so-
says, hey, you can always be yourself unless you can be Batman, then be Batman.
yeah,
If
Yeah.
James Earl Jones is ever on the table, it's always James Earl Jones.
yeah.
Unless it's Morgan Freeman.
Ooh, that's a good.
If you,
that's
if
a
you
hard
can
pick.
speak as Morgan Freeman or James Earl Jones, you can take your pick.
All right, so I'm going to nominate a category for the next Rebel Double Jammers, which is like best voice over actors, some kind of mashup like
so not
that.
even the characters they are, just the voice actors themselves.
Sort of, yeah.
And Troy Baker wins because he just destroys everybody.
Oh, probably.
But you've got to make that case in the arena, sir.
All right, so back in 2002,
Fair enough.
this is the dream casting for the writer for the would-be Fantastic Four. So what do you think of this cast for Peyton Reed's Fantastic Four?
The casting isn't all that bad since Peyton Reed had basically no feature experience other than Bring It On up to that point, I wouldn't have had a whole lot of confidence in that part of it, but the casting seems kind of fun.
It doesn't seem like there's
other
enough
than
BDSM spider liquid in this one.
Ian's checked out. There's no white spider liquid in this.
Doesn't
He's
meet the
done.
quota.
Hard pass.
Other than Sandy Rivers is Reed Richards, I'm actually kind of on board with it. Like, John C. Reilly is the thing. I'd like to see that just to see what happens. Because it is Peyton Reed. We are talking a comedy here. You know? So, I get that part. But, it's not... Reed Richards is not enough comedy for me that I want that guy to do it.
I mean,
I don't know. I think Denisoff gets. I mean, if you've seen him in Buffy and Angel, I think he is a very good actor that doesn't get a lot of opportunities to do stuff. So I think this would give him the stage to do something with it. And I actually would really like to see what he would have done with this.
I just feel like he's too comedy for me. Like
That's
like,
coming
he's
from
too much
someone
of
who
a
has
good
not watched
comedic
Buffy and
actor.
Angel. I think he plays some very deep, serious stuff in some of those shows. He is a comedic
it's-
relief for a while, but they change him enough where he gets some meaty stuff to do.
All right. I have not watched Angel. I watched Buffy, but
Yeah, Wesley goes through some shit in Angel.
okay.
I mean,
I'd have to watch it and make up my own mind.
Yeah, I'd say even though if there ever was like a Paul Walker bandwagon to get on, I never
Always is.
did.
It's always open.
Although I will say I'm glad he made that movie 8 Below, because I don't care like if you're 20, like I think I was around the first time I saw it, or now, I would bawl like a little bitch seeing that movie. But
I mean, isn't it really just White Fang all over again though? Like it's
kind of, sort of, but it's whatever. It's awesome watching dogs in movies in snow surviving together. It's whatever. You'll cry too.
I
Too bad.
Didn't Cuba Gooding Jr. make one of those too?
Yeah. He did.
Was that
Snow
The
Dogs?
dogs
Snow...
talk.
No, that was
Snow
Snow
Dogs?
Day, wasn't it?
Probably both.
No. He made like a not Snow Day was a different
Cool
thing.
Runnings.
Snow Dogs, he made like a sled dog thing.
He probably did. But
The dogs talked.
Yeah, the dogs could talk.
there was no human talking in the Paul Walker one, but it was still heart wrenching. But
The humans didn't talk in the Paul Walker
No,
version?
the goddamn dogs.
You said there's no human talking.
The dogs were not human talking. Okay, moving on.
Was there dialogue in this movie?
The
It's just Paul Walker
in-
looking longingly at the dog.
in 2002,
Wish you were a car.
it would make sense to go the Paul Walker route for something like Johnny Storm, and that makes
Yeah.
sense. And that's actually, I would say, that's not probably that bad of casting.
Yeah, I mean, if I could pick anybody to be in these roles, that's pretty good.
Yeah, in some essence, like, I feel like Paul Walker would play a better version of the dickhead that Johnny Storm is supposed to be than Chris Evans did. Chris Evans is just too likable, too charismatic all on his own. Whereas I feel like Paul Walker actually has, I hate to say it this way, but a bit more range to play somebody you don't like.
Okay.
Does
Does that make like he can turn the heel and you can not like him? Whereas, like, not to spoil anything, but a recent movie featuring Chris Evans where he was that evil person. I'm not going to name the movie. You guys should know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to just openly spoil something, but he was the villain and you still liked him. It didn't, like, he didn't come off as like the type of person where you're like, you're just like that darn Chris Evans, he got us. As opposed to
Is that what we're like, really?
That's what I was like. Like,
Ah,
he-
shucks.
and I
That we're
rocked back and
Chris
he
forth
got
in my
us on
wooden
this one.
rocking
He's the
chair on
bad
my
guy
porch.
this time.
So we're
Good
Scooby-Doo
job.
villains?
He's the bad
Yeah.
guy.
Good job,
Scooby-Doo
fella.
villain.
Good job.
Yeah, like I don't know. He just doesn't work as somebody that can play a dick. Whereas I feel like Paul Walker could play that role.
I gotcha. Yeah, I'm down with this cast. I think it would have been cool. I mean, considering the 2005 Fantastic Four we got, which isn't terrible, but still would have been cool
Yeah.
to compare it to that one.
Wait, where's that the first one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't hate that movie.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the second one, if not for the portrayal of Galactus in that second movie, just completely destroys it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
They were too afraid to do a huge man in space.
Yeah.
He became a cloud.
I didn't hate those
Yeah.
movies, but they could have been better, for sure.
exactly.
I
I felt like The Surfer was done well. Doom was
Yeah.
done well.
Oh yeah, I loved
Like
I
it-
loved the Morpheus casting on the voice. So
Yeah.
not so much the reboot part, but I'm actually anxious for those to hit the Wheel of Six in Rewind Theater. I'm been holding off seeing those again. I probably haven't seen them since they came out the
Yeah.
first time, but sort of anxious to try those ones
I
again.
mean, you can still probably watch them tomorrow. We're not going to get to them for 5 years, so.
Yeah, you have no idea when it's going
I
to
know,
happen.
but at this point, I feel like any of these things that are unless it's like a typical staple that I might just throw on anyway and have for the last several years, I'm kind of viewing it like letting like an alcohol age. Like, hey, in 3 years, like this is going to be that much sweeter.
Fantastic Four is really gonna slap in 2023.
All right, so we'll move on to the next one. We're going to start diving into some DC movies now. All right, 2002. Warner Brothers trying to figure out what to do with two of their biggest superheroes, Batman and Superman. Both characters have had their franchises stall out, and numerous ideas were being tossed around. So one of those ideas was a Batman versus Superman movie. It was said to be titled Batman vs. Superman Asylum. Was aimed to be released in 2004. Warner Brothers had the idea that they could make one movie to kickstart both characters' respective franchises. The first draft of this movie was written by Andrew Kevin Walker. I don't know if that name is familiar to anybody, but he wrote Seven.
Great
okay.
movie.
Okay.
The script was then given a rewrite, got a pass by Akiva Goldsman, who typically writes some superhero stuff. I think he might have had some work in Transformers movies and stuff like that. Before there was even a director attached to this movie. Even before. No, I want you to guess the director. That's a typo in my outline. So, any idea who the director was that they were looking for this movie in 2000?
Zack Snyder.
2002.
Zack Snyder.
It was not Zack
Zack
Snyder.
Snyder. It was Zack Snyder. It was always Zack Snyder.
So 2002.
2002.
Director. Any hints? Anything.
He directed. I could give you other stuff he directed.
Okay.
Kevin Smith.
Directed Air Force One.
Oh shit, we just watched that.
Directed The Neverending Story.
Oh, fuck me.
I did not know the
Left
same
this
person.
project to make Troy.
Oh shit. Oh.
Is that
Ang Lee.
No.
No,
It's
that's
not
who
coming to
directed
mind.
Troy.
Zack Snyder. I'm still gonna
Gore
say it.
Verbinski's not who directed Troy.
No.
I don't know why that name came to mind.
Yeah, that's, isn't that
Jabberwocky.
Pirates of the Caribbean? Gore?
Yes, I
I
think
think
so.
so,
Yeah.
Nothing?
No. Not off
Tim
those
Carpenter.
movies.
Wolfgang Peterson.
Damn it.
Ah, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that one.
I know the name.
All right, so this movie would have had a few callbacks to the previous Burton era Batman movies and stuff like this, but it wasn't meant to build a cinematic universe like we know today. Some of the details I found for the second draft of the script had Bruce stepping away from Batman for 5 years after the deaths of Robin, Jim Gordon, and Alfred. The Joker is presumed to be dead after falling to his death at the end of Burton's Batman. Bruce and Clark know each other, they're friends. Bruce is on the verge of marrying a woman named Elizabeth. Clark, for whatever reason, can't be with Lois as being Superman somehow gets in the way of that. The movie would have been made in a post-9/11 world, so it opened with Superman stopping some sort of terrorist attack. And as this angry mob was on the verge of killing the terrorist, Superman spared his life. That comes into play later. Later in the movie, Bruce gets married, Clark is his best man. Bruce and Elizabeth go on their honeymoon. As they're going on their honeymoon, she's killed by some sort of poison dart. This drives Bruce to don the cape and cowl again, hunt down the person responsible for the death of his wife. Clark tries to talk Bruce down because he knows if Bruce kills somebody out of vengeance that he'll eventually never come back from it. Eventually, Bruce finds out the person responsible for his wife's death is the Joker. Woo!
That's a twist.
Oh. I
Yeah.
didn't see that coming.
Oh,
I
what
thought
a
it was going to be the
twist.
terrorist.
So this is where it gets really convoluted. So not only that, but the Joker is the same terrorist that Superman spared at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah! Yeah, okay.
So-
Now that it connects, that works.
This is why Batman and Superman want to fight, because Superman spared Joker's life. To make things even more convoluted, the Joker was resurrected by Lex Luthor, and Bruce's wife Elizabeth was some sort of creation by the Joker to make the perfect woman for Bruce so he could eventually kill her and break Batman. That's the gist of the story.
That's pretty
This
meaty.
is the greatest script ever written.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in that third act of the movie. So the rumors for casting pointed to two actors for both roles. So Superman and Batman both had two names floating around.
Both of them had to.
Both of them had two. So any guesses
I'm sorry, this
who
is
they
what,
were
like
looking at for Superman and Batman?
2002 again? 2004?
2004. I think.
2002. It was said to release in 2004.
Okay.
So they started working in 2002.
Tom Cruise.
Not Tom Cruise.
Keanu Reeves.
And Chris, it's not Vin Diesel. You didn't even ask yet, but I know it's in there. I'm not. It's
I'll go with Batfleck again.
and it was not.
Matt Damon.
It is somebody that would have been Batman, or that will be Batman later,
Christian Bale.
like after this point. Christian Bale was one
All right.
He was rumored for Batman.
back in 2002. So even before Batman Begins, they were looking at him for Batman.
You said there was two for each, or is this
Yeah.
just
So there's
one?
another Batman, and there's still two
Okay.
Superman
Johnny Depp.
names floating around. What was that?
Johnny Depp.
No.
for Superman 2004?
One person we've
2003?
already talked about his previous casting on another movie.
Paul Walker.
No.
Who actually got
Vin Diesel.
cast in something?
It would have been someone's dream casting for
Oh, okay.
for a role we talked about previously.
John C. Riley.
No.
Bob Hoskins.
No.
Good lord.
Bob Hoskins. I just see him as Superman now. Like,
Yes.
I kind of want that.
Yeah.
Someone give me that fan art.
You can see him flying in Super Mario the movie.
Oh my God, that's right. Just give him a cape. Put the underwear on the outside. It's fine. It all works.
Leo.
No. All right, one more time for everybody. Ian, you got a guess?
Andy Milonakis.
No. Mike.
Damn it.
Guess for Batman?
For any of them. 2 Superman, 1 Batman.
Well, I was going to throw out one for each.
Okay.
But,
Come on.
It's cheating.
Well, no, I'm not
Just give me your
throwing-
names. Come on.
Sure, Clive Owen.
No.
Oh, that's a good guess.
Were you
I
giving me
threw
2
out
other
Sean's
guesses?
guess. I just threw out Sean's guess for you since
Oh, then no.
put it in chat. Liam Neeson.
No.
I got nothing.
Andy.
That's it. I've got
Brad
nothing.
Pitt.
No. Josh, last call.
Jude Law.
Yes.
Oh!
For which one?
As the other Batman.
No.
As Superman.
He was up for Superman.
Huh. All right.
Yeah, I can't see that.
Yeah, I don't like that as Superman. Batman, okay, maybe, but not.
So the other
Interesting.
Superman was Josh Hartnett.
Ugh.
Oh,
The other Batman, Colin Farrell.
Ooh, actually, don't mind that.
yeah, okay.
Potentially. Okay.
So given this sort of casting, one or the other, I guess you could take your pick on how you want to spin it. But based on the second draft of the script, what I read to you for the summary, with a combination of these guys in the roles, what do you think?
I mean, they clearly need a better director, but it would have been a kick-ass movie.
You don't like that director?
I really think Zack Snyder should have directed this.
There's only one
Even
director
as
for
he was
any
working
Batman
on
versus
Dawn of
Superman
the Dead,
movie.
he should have been approached to, obviously, at that point.
They should have held it for him.
I
It
really
could
don't
have
like the
launched
Jude
them.
Law. What's that, Andy?
They could have launched the characters, both of them.
Yeah, that's
For
that's
which
true.
people?
Any
of them,
four.
or-
Yeah.
Okay.
It-
I kind
it
of feel like
depends on-
I don't know if I'd see Hartnett in the role. That's the one for me that's like, it's hard to swallow.
I
This-
agree, but if they do it, like I couldn't see sparkle vampire as Batman either, but here we go, getting it full tilt, and it looks fucking good. So if they did it
Fair.
right, I think that those actors are broad enough that they probably could have nailed whatever they were given
Okay, fair.
I
if
think
they did it correctly.
Yeah, for me, the aesthetic of Superman is so difficult to look for because I think a Bruce Wayne you can morph in your mind to look a couple of different ways. I know it's set so historically first by George Reeve and then Christopher Reeves and then Brandon Routh. Like everybody very specifically who has been cast as Superman looks a very certain way.
Yes.
In their face structure, their bone structure, their hair color, their hair style. And I could be wrong. I don't know if any of the even like the TV iterations of Superman, like who are on the Berlantiverse now, or like Dean Cain didn't have, he at least had like dark brown hair, if not black hair.
Tom
like,
Wellington as well. They all
Right.
sort of look alike. So
Like
Yeah.
that's why I sort of like went to the Jude Law. Like I don't think you could spin Jude Law to Superman to me as Clark Kent ever. It'd be so hard to look at him that way because you couldn't have him anything but dark hair. Like you could not
Right.
have a sandy blonde Clark Kent.
Hey,
It's like, would they give him a wig? Do you think they give him a wig?
I don't know if they go the wig or they dye the hair, but like, and I don't know, something about even Josh Hartnett. Like, yeah, he has darker hair naturally, but there's I don't know. I think it's
So
tricky casting to try to find.
Superman has a very classic haircut.
Right.
Let's be clear about this. And it's a bouffant. He has a very poofed out hair with a curl. He's got the front curl that's supposed to be there, which I don't think Cable ever did. But it's a thing.
That part of it, I don't think so. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like it's still like his hair is very defined in the comics, in the character, in every instance that we see him. It's a very specific thing.
Yeah.
So Jude Law, I don't think I've ever seen with hair longer than that short, weird haircut he always has.
Right.
If you guys haven't seen the suggestion from the chat, I'm gonna sideline that for a second. We got a suggestion of John Stamos for Superman, which
I did not see that.
I endorse.
I'm okay with that.
I'm looking in the chat to see where Stamos, there it is, yeah.
Who was that from?
Chris.
Good call, Chris. I support that decision.
Yeah, Stamos is Superman. I mean, I don't know about the early 2000s, but mid-90s, yeah. He could have been in the casting.
ooh, Rob Zombie,
Short
Batman
list.
versus Superman. That'd be a crazy fucking motherfucking movie.
It is not on this list.
That might be crazy enough, like all those ingredients put together to actually work and be something interesting. Yeah.
So I mean, compared to the 2016 Batman v Superman movie that we got, how does this script compare to that one? Which story would you like to see? I mean, we have that one to compare to. The whole freaking third act falls apart with Martha and all that shit. But
I disagree.
this one
We have a Snyder super fan in the
also
group.
has some weird shit happen in the third act of the movie. So I don't really know which one I feel like is quote unquote better.
As long as you chose the right director, I think they both would be masterpieces.
Wait,
Especially the one that was released.
did I miss?
By the way, did you call Zach and tell him we were doing this tonight? I figured he might stop by.
He's busy. Remember they're doing reshoots.
What about the other Zach?
He's actually busy. We're working on Rock Opera number 3.
Oh, okay.
Plus, they like their
Wow.
anonymity. They might just be there in the chat under a name that we don't realize.
Fair point.
It's possible. They wouldn't tell me. They don't want to get me too nervous.
That wild Snyder reunion. We're just not going to see it this time.
I think both stories, both the one we got and the one you like, the one you described for very different reasons sounds so overpacked with story details
Yeah.
and story occurrences and like just multiple beats. Like it just keeps changing and going. Like I don't know. It doesn't just feel like a easy flow of a regular story.
There's a lot of that, like, dun dun dun
yeah,
type of
like,
moments.
and then
like,
something
all
else
through
happens,
that.
and then it takes this left turn, and like
Right.
So, I guess my issue with both scenarios is that, as far as I know, I missed a little bit about what you said there, Brian. But neither one involve Frank Miller in their storytelling.
Right.
So, the man who told the story to begin with, and has this all-time classic, all-time great comic, graphic novel, whatever out there, neither one of them thought to consult him when they were going to go and do this.
I mean, just because the movie didn't get made doesn't mean they wouldn't. Like, if it made its way there, they might have eventually made their way to Frank Miller.
A movie did make its way there, and they didn't make their way to Frank Miller.
Yeah, well, yeah, the one we got.
I'm saying, so one did make its way there and didn't do it. The other one, I would presume, would be the same
Right. Okay.
case. Because if you were starting this, like, to me, like, point A should be Frank Miller talking with somebody about it. Kind of like we talked earlier with, like, Chris Claremont talking with James Cameron.
Yeah.
Like, that to me sounds like a great start for a movie. You're talking the greatest X-Men writer ever with
Watch it, Ian. Don't take the bait.
Clearly not, but we can.
gas is
you get
getting
my point
lit.
though. You're talking about Frank Miller who told the story to begin with, and is the reason that the story is popular is because of the way he told it. And none of them are going to him to see, like, how should we tell this story? And that's, to me, the biggest problem they had
Yeah.
in both cases.
All right. So what happened in this movie? So while Batman vs Superman Asylum was being worked on, there was a standalone Superman movie being pitched as well. Warner Brothers Studio president Alan Horn, which is the same Alan Horn that is currently chairman of Walt Disney Studios, began thinking there was a better way to launch the heroes. It was better to launch the heroes separately, not put them in together and then spin them off. Just do them separate. He picked 10 people within the company, gave them a script for Batman vs Superman, and gave them a script for the solo Superman movie, and asked them to tell him which one they liked more. More people picked the Superman movie over the Batman vs Superman movie. So BVS was put on hold. They moved forward with Superman, but funnily enough, that Superman movie also never got made, which is going to be the next one we talk about. So before we get to that one, there was a director who was writing this one and I think was on tap to direct it also. So in 2002, what director was trying to get a Superman movie made?
Zack Snyder.
I know the answer to this, so I'm going to wait until others have guessed.
Okay. And no, it was not Zack Snyder.
Michael Bay.
No.
Lots of explosions in a Superman movie. That would be cool.
Andy, any guesses?
Gore Verbinski.
No. I actually think if this would have gotten made, it would have been his first director job as a big movie.
Yeah.
His first directing gig as it stands happened in 2006.
I don't know the year.
I'm going to check myself before I wreck myself.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you that about him. I know enough about him, but I don't know that.
Andy Milonakis. Let's just do it.
Nope.
I would watch
Damn
an Andy
it.
Milonakis directed movie. I don't care what it's about. I'll watch it.
Yes, 2006. Directorial debut.
What movie was it?
The guy that directed the Jackass movie.
I didn't tell you what movie. I just said 2006.
Jeff
I
Did
know.
tell you
yeah,
the movie?
I was trying to
That's his
fish
name.
for information.
Jeff Tremaine.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible 3.
Oh, JJ.
It was JJ.
Yep.
Yes. So JJ Abrams made a pass at a Superman movie. Anybody know the subtitle for this movie? It had a
Man of
subtitle.
Steel.
Was it like it was
Another
Fly
Day Will
something?
Dawn.
And Mike's pretty damn close. He's almost got it.
Flyby?
Flyby. Yes. Superman Flyby.
Oh, that's
Oh
terrible.
God, that's horrible.
So
Is he an
it's-
alien
it's
in
not
this one?
good.
So this was the movie that put Batman vs. Superman Asylum on hold. So the script set up Superman as an heir to the throne of Krypton. And just like in
Okay.
JJ fashion, there is some mysterious prophecy he must fulfill. So in the script, Krypton still exists,
Yeah.
although it's had a chunk of it blown off from some bomb planted by Superman's uncle. And the names are gonna get all confusing. Katazor. Krypton is slowly falling out of orbit on its path to destruction, but it's something that's not intended to be seen in this movie. So JJ makes a few specific notes that some things won't be answered until a sequel. So again, this is JJ's mystery box approach. We're going to set up some stuff, but not do anything with it.
So he basically
never
just
pay
took this approach to Star Wars then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then since Krypton isn't destroyed, Superman isn't sent to Earth to survive Krypton's destruction. He is sent to Earth to escape the wrath of his evil cousin, Tyzor. So a couple other bullet points. The script has Clark as an undeclared college student until he meets Lois Lane and his career path has changed. His glasses aren't used as a disguise. They were speckled with lead in order to help keep his powers in check. Clark's awkward personality comes from growing up in a world that he's afraid he could destroy if he allows his emotions to overcome him. Jonathan Kent has a heart attack upon learning of the first time Clark debuts as Superman. We got some stuff on Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is characterized as the disheveled crackpot and UFO enthusiast who stumbles upon a Kryptonian pod with a dying Kryptonian inside. There's mention of some sort of Kryptonian mind meld that leaves Lex bald, but also enlightened, and allows him to become the billionaire of Lex Corp and eventually run for president.
This all makes sense.
Lex tries to get Superman to join his plans for conquest. Superman refuses. Lex activates some sort of beacon that he got from the Kryptonian pod to lure Superman's cousin, Tyzor, to Earth, since they've been searching for the heir to the throne since Superman left Krypton. The climax of the movie features Tyzor arriving on Earth with a Kryptonian mech, and the battle takes place in downtown Metropolis.
Hell yeah. Hell fucking yeah.
Just as with the script for Superman Lives, Warner Brothers wanted to use some elements of their most popular Superman comic, The Death of Superman, into the story. So at some point, Superman dies, comes back to life in the third act. After that, Superman wins. The script ends with him using his own Kryptonian pod, presumably the one that he came to Earth with as a child, uses that to fly off to Krypton to pursue his destiny, and that would have set up the second movie of a proposed trilogy.
So first question, why does anyone care about being the heir to the throne of a dying planet that's slowly falling out of
Those
orbit?
questions are never answered.
Family.
And with JJ, they probably won't be. All right, so
with that, is that even something like he was hiding? It's like would anyone actually even give a shit? Like, yeah, the planet's dying. Like,
unless it's like his destiny to
can't-
save the planet or something, I don't know. I don't know how they.
like was
I
he
don't know
just
how
gonna
they
add a
spin it.
bunch of mass back to it? Like,
Well, wasn't the evacuation thing that Josh said? Wasn't that just like basically the Kryptonian part of Man of Steel? Like that was the entire, like the part that they're on Krypton. It's all about the evacuation.
Right.
Which I really.
And here
dug that
they
part
should be
of the Steel.
evacuating, and they're not evacuating.
Yeah.
They're trying to save the planet somehow.
Or at least
Or at
save
least
their
it's not to the point where they
civilization.
need to find somewhere else to go yet. I don't know. It's
Save
still
the
a little murky.
society.
I guess so. They gotta finish the Civil War first before they can do that.
Possibly.
To see who will reign over the planet that's missing
dead
25%
planet.
of its mass.
Yeah. So there were two directors that were attached to this movie at one point or another, like actually signed on to work on this film. Can you name either director?
Zack
Wait,
Snyder.
So
No.
J.J. Abrams was not one of them?
So I had it wrong. I guess he's just writing, so maybe he did not direct this. So I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh,
I should have read further down my outline. So yeah, two different directors. JJ was not directing. I'm sorry. My bad.
Kevin Smith.
I mean,
No.
I would just be guessing because all I knew was J.J. Abrams was tied to it.
Edgar Wright,
No.
We wish.
Guy Ritchie,
No.
Wolfgang Peterson,
No.
Roland Emmerich.
No.
Oh, that's not
Spielberg.
cool.
No. So as I was trying to go through their IMDb's, I found out
Oh,
that
for
both of
fuck's
them
sake.
directed a bunch of music videos. So
Vin Diesel.
no,
So he has a music video now.
I mean they
Does he have a video?
do have actual
I don't think
movies
so.
under their belt at this
Oh,
time,
nice.
but they started off with
Oh.
music videos. So one director started
notable?
off directing videos for Sublime, Smash Mouth, Korn, and Cypress Hill.
Oh hell yeah!
The other one
This movie
started
fucks.
off directing a slew of Mariah Carey music videos.
So
It's fucking
he
even more.
Fantasy
he directed
because
for
booyah.
Korn.
This is. I was
And
almost
he
going to
has
guess
ties
Samuel.
to Todd McFarlane.
I was almost gonna guess
Sorry,
Samuel
what, Mike?
Bear.
Todd McFarlane?
No,
Well, he'd have ties to him for Korn. Then.
Right, but not directing.
unless it was just different songs, maybe.
Well, no, I mean, he'd have like a connection of some sort. Is what I'm saying. Who directed Spawn?
No, yeah, it's not. I don't think it's not the director of Spawn.
Oh fuck! I should know that name. I
Um,
talked a lot about him.
All right, we'll
It's in
try
my
again.
notes.
So, first director at this time is coming off of Charlie's Angels.
Full Throttle or the first one?
I think he did them both. Didn't he?
I don't know either.
Definitely, it's at least the first one.
I
Did you ask a question where the answer wouldn't help you?
Yeah, I did. I knew there was a Charlie's Angels Full Throttle that existed. I've never watched either movie.
Second director at this time is coming off of Money Talks, Rush Hour, and Rush Hour 2.
Ratner.
Yes.
I'm gonna say Jackie
Ratner's
Chan.
the Mariah Carey enthusiast.
Joseph Kahn. I don't know who that is, but that's Chris guessed that in chat.
Oh, sorry. No, Chris, you are incorrect.
And no, it's not Jay-Z. Jay-Z.
Or is it?
No more guesses for the other director. Mick G.
So it could have been Jay-Z. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, that's close.
He also directed Terminator Salvation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So Mick G was the first one set to direct. He backed out. Ratner came on board, and then Ratner left, and Mick G came back.
So, quick question. Is his last name just the letter G, or is it G-E-E?
G. The letter G.
Yeah!
Mick
This guy
G.
fucks. Never mind. I'm back in.
So the casting for this seemed to be all over the place, so I won't really ask you who you thought might have been up for all the roles. I'm just going to ask maybe a few about Superman. But some of the other roles they had, Robert Downey Jr. was supposedly locked in for Lex Luthor.
He probably would have nailed
18-year-old
that.
Shia LaBeouf was supposed to be Jimmy Olsen.
I could see
Okay.
that.
Sure, yeah.
Scarlett Johansson and Selma Blair were both rumored for Lois Lane.
Sure.
Selma Blair, yes.
There were a ton of names for people testing for Superman.
A ton, I'm sure.
So, yeah, I guess I could... Some of these names we talked about, so... No, you know what? Okay, I'll narrow it down to two. So, people testing for Superman. Jason Beer, who I'm not really sure who that is. B-E-H-R.
Bear.
Michael Cassidy. Supernatural's Jared Padalecki. Ashton Kutcher.
Of course.
Brett Ratner, when he was attached, he was looking at Matt Bomer.
Okay.
Oh, all
Okay,
right.
sure. I can see Matt Bomer.
And those are the director's picks. So Warner Brothers executives were rumored to have been pushing for two people for Superman. One an actor and one a pop star. Any guesses to
What year
who
was
either
this
of those
again?
people are?
This was like early 2000s.
This would have been... Where did I see?
Oh,
yeah, probably
203?
2002-ish, 2003.
Ricky
Justin
Martin.
Timberlake.
Sorry, what was it?
Timberlake.
You're correct.
What?
Hell
Warner Brothers
yeah.
executives
Timberland!
wanted Justin Timberlake for Superman. Along with someone we also just talked about.
Vin Diesel.
No.
Paul Walker.
No.
Andy Milonakis.
Actually, this might even be a carryover from the previous topic, from the previous movie.
Oh, we've said so
I don't
many
remember
names.
what
What were the
previous
two
movie
names
was.
that we said for Superman?
Jude Law?
And,
Hartnett.
Oh, fuck.
yes,
Oh, wow.
executives were still pushing for Hartnett and Justin Timberlake.
Hell yeah.
So what you're telling
Um,
me is we may eventually get the Sparkle Vampire and a Josh Hartnett Batman versus Superman?
I mean, we could have.
If there's a
I
Justin
mean,
going
think
to,
of, wait.
but we
I was going
could
to say
have.
Timberlake and Pattinson.
I mean, I'm a Timberlake fanboy, so I would see this shit. So I don't even
Oh,
care.
yeah.
I know you guys don't want it, but I would eat this up.
This is probably why it's on the list, because Timberlake was
I
attached.
had to do it. Yes, I had to put it in there. All right, so I do have one other picture because there was one other person that tested for Superman. So there was some sort of
Wait, this
graining
was an
footage.
official test?
Supposedly, it's got a timestamp on it from Warner Brothers. If you believe that kind of shit on the
Please
internet.
be Hayden Christensen. Please be Hayden Christensen.
So this would be from 2004. Picture. So check the Twitch stream if you don't have it up.
If it's Bob Hoskins, I'm gonna laugh hysterically.
I hope, God, yes.
Is that Henry Cavill?
Yes.
Holy
In
shit.
2004, tested for Superman.
Huh.
He looked the part then, just like he does now.
Yeah.
Wearing what looks to be the Nick Cage suit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Kind of.
very shiny.
Well, you already got the suit.
So was he?
They have the same
Look,
build.
was he on the Tudors by that point?
See, I don't know a lot of Cavill's resume.
No, this is 3 years before that. I mean, it looks like he had a couple things, like, but really not
He
many.
looks like a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baby Cavill is
16
correct.
years ago, Cavill.
The
Holy
earliest
crap.
thing I can remember Cavill in was The Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh wow,
That's
I
about the
didn't
same
realize he was
time,
in
isn't
that.
it?
Yeah, he plays the son of Jim Caviezel's The Count of Monte Cristo. He plays the son of
Yeah.
the guy that takes his life or whatever.
Wow. Yeah, I think the earliest I can go back, if I remember, is Stardust, because he plays like the douchebag wannabe suitor.
Does
I
he?
think.
I don't
Yeah.
think he's in Stardust.
I'm looking at it right now. He is.
Oh, fuck.
Touche, Andy. Touche.
I just
yeah, mean,
saw Stardust. Fuck.
He has this
Was
like
that him?
really like sandy blonde-esque hair and this. And a
He's in the movie.
mustache.
He's in the movie for all of like a minute and a half.
Yeah, it's not that long.
Okay. I love that
so
movie.
Somebody brought up Cavill and mustache.
Yeah, so it's
Oh.
like it's yeah, right. Yeah, so it's definitely forgivable to remember that, but yeah, it's surprising that around that time someone still saw him in that way.
Yeah, so I thought that was a little fun.
Hmm.
All right, so what do you, out of the casting for all this crap, I guess you could pick really any one of these possible people for Superman if you wanted, but most of the other casts seem to be, for the most part, locked in. And based on that story that I tried to give you, what do you think of J.J. Abrams' Superman?
Shit.
Agreed.
I don't. It's, was Abrams the one that did Cloverfield?
He helped
Produced?
Shit, who is it that? Because I don't. It wasn't. No, it was Matt Reeves directed.
Yeah, he did the first
that.
Cloverfield, yeah.
I want
But-
to say maybe Abrams.
But it was a bad. It was a
and-
bad robot production, right?
I believe so. Yeah, it was definitely a producer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't. I know a lot of people liked the first Cloverfield movie, but I don't know. I didn't really care
You
for it. And I-
tread carefully, sir.
Yeah, I didn't care for it. Like the whole shaky cam, like filmed on a phone shit. Didn't
So-
care for it, but
That one I go a lot of different ways on, where like I like some parts of it a lot, and other parts I don't. Like,
What,
it-
Cloverfield?
Yeah.
uh,
Like I
It's his best movie.
It's a favorite of
Matt
mine. I will
Reeves?
always-
or
Yeah,
J.J.
for that one.
Abrams.
Abrams.
All right, so Ian, what do you think of the J.J. Abrams Superman?
Oh, it sounds fucking cool as shit, and I want to see it. I mean, we just got to get a better director in there, but still, it sounds amazing.
I thought you were all on board with Mick G.
But Zack Snyder is the greatest director of all time, and anytime you can put him into
It-
the directing chair, you got to do it.
He's all on board with a Snyder directed, Abrams produced, Cavill Superman movie.
And Mick G's just hanging out on set.
He's the hype man.
Technical advisor.
Yeah.
But for when they do the music video for the movie, he's filmed
The
it.
big soundtrack song. Based solely on description, Ian, how many explosions do you think you would rate the movie at this point?
Well, the one key thing is, and this really determines the rating, is whether or not we see that Krypton explosion happen to blow it up. If
Yeah.
we do, it's a perfect 10 out of 10.
Does that have to be part of like prologue? Because it sounds like we're picking up the story at
As
that
long
point.
as it appears in the film. I don't care when.
like a
It
flashback
could be in the
scene.
end credits. Like, I don't care.
You literally have to have at least 10 explosions to get a 10 out of 10 explosion.
Not if one's really good and destroys a quarter of a planet.
Right, yeah, quarter of a planet explosion's got to count for like 5 explosions, right?
It's a lot of explosions.
Yeah. So,
All right, so ultimately, the movie would have cost too much to make. Warner Bros. Was still trying to push something out for the character. Eventually, we ended up with Bryan Singer's Superman Returns.
Woohoo.
But I also find it funny that Ratner gets attached to Superman, leaves the project. Bryan Singer comes in to pick up Superman, and then Ratner goes to pick up Singer's X-Men 3.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of director shuffling going on at this point.
As much bad stuff you can say about that Superman Returns movie, I actually kind of liked Brandon Ruth as Superman.
No,
He is not the problem with that movie.
No, yeah, definitely not.
There's a lot of problems with that movie, but I feel like he's not the problem.
No, not at all. Hey, all right, it's me, Brent's Brian. One more time. I don't have any good transition here, but I didn't want to just cut to the music abruptly at the end of part 1. So this is just another reminder there was more to this episode. I will get a part 2 up hopefully sooner rather than later. In the meantime, feel free to check out my Twitch channel, Jedi Bry Guy, for the entire episode. Check the socials, Facebook, Twitter. Search Bry Guy and Super Friends. We're there. In the feeds for those social sites, I do have the link for the Twitch stream also, so you can come back and check it out there if you want. So, that's it for part 1. On behalf of Andy, Josh, Ian, Mike, and myself, we will talk to you in part 2. Number 2.